we will be drafting a few Best Ball Mania teams on this stream with a couple of awesome guests starting momentarily. I did want to start this stream, though, with a programming, actually two programming notes to start the stream. First of all, I did Best Ball After Dark with Pete Overzet a couple weeks ago, and one of my main takeaways was need to be more consistent with the timing of my streams. Need to be doing same time every week. So this is the new time for this Wednesday stream. I stream with some awesome guests every Wednesday. We do Best Ball Manias typically on these streams, so this will be a regular thing. Wednesdays at 3 o'clock Eastern is when we're going to start, or right after Pete ends his randomizer stream. Second programming note, I just decided to announce it today because we had some kind of funny timing. If you are coming from Pete's stream, you already know it's a new show on this channel. If you're coming from Pete's stream, you already know the person I'm going to be streaming with because it is Mathology. Mathology was just on Pete's stream starting 2 weeks from Monday. Going to be doing Marathon Mondays with Mathology. It might not just be, we're kind of still working on the name a little bit. We're going to start by doing some marathon contests on Underdog. Might do some Eliminator as well, but he's the perfect guy to do it because even if you don't know Mathology, he was the regular season points leader in Best Ball Mania last year. Absolutely dominated with one of his teams in Best Ball Mania. Really sharp guy and really fun guy. So really excited to be doing that stream starting again. It's a week from Monday in the late afternoon. I don't know if we settled on an exact time yet, but it's going to be every Monday starting a week from next Monday. All right. That's it as far as the programming notes go. I am going to bring in my first guest. I'm going to have two guests here. First of all, John Daigle from Established to Run, really sharp guy who I drafted Saquon Barkley, maybe my only Saquon Barkley share last year. No, not quite, but we drafted one last year. And then in an hour, we're going to have Ryan Heath from Fantasy Points join in as well. Really excited to have both of these guys on. Without further ado, bringing in John Daigle. Daigle, how you doing today?
Would be doing better if you were wearing a flannel too, but I respected the bit as I wanted to do. So just happy to be here with you yet again.
Yeah, people complain sometimes that it's called the Flannelverse and I don't always wear flannels. I wear them 9 months of the year, but it gets too damn hot in Minnesota to wear flannels in July. I actually just cranked up the air conditioning, so maybe in an hour it'll be cool enough for me to wear a flannel, but I turned it off, trying to save a little bit on the electricity. And it's hot in here.
I had to go to the second closet, #HowRich, in the guest bedroom, because that's where I store the winter gear. So all my sweaters, all my flannels just moved there a couple weeks ago since it's now hotter. But I still got them because, like you, I also am a flannel person in the winter. They're so comfortable. Plus, like you could drink and eat all you want, and flannels just kind of naturally make you look the same, whatever size you are. So yeah. I love it.
It's amazing. Yeah, flannels really do conceal the belly a little bit. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. You're in Chicago, so a nice flannel city. It's maybe tougher to wear a flannel in Mississippi, Florida. Not much of the year you want to be wearing flannels, but yeah, here in the Midwest, perfect weather for flannel season. Daigle, I don't know if you saw it just today. Underdog announced that they are removing the 30-second clock option for fast drafts. Mm-hmm. So usually like 1 hour per guest is perfect. You do one Best Ball Mania stream, the guest leaves, on to the next guest, whatever. It's like perfect timing. Now it's like I have no idea how long this is going to take. So we're going to finish the draft. If we start too early, we're going to finish and then have 20 minutes left over with time to kill. So do you want to draft right away, or I was going to ask you about some of your. Let's start with some player takes. So I know one of your recent tweets was about a guy that I love in Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
Are you your Jordan Mason RB1 season for the Vikings?
So there probably is, as I am the quote unquote season long expert and bro at Established the Run. Thus, I'm doing all of the work, even for best ball and betting, but you have to zoom out and then provide the correct context for that game we're playing. And so if we're talking about Aaron Jones, there probably is a window, honestly, probably months at a time where he's usable and he'll provide usable scores. But for best ball, it's really easy to get high on Jordan Mason, if not like start painting the picture that he's the better player at cost than Aaron Jones, if only because, unlike season long, we don't have to worry about that start-sit headache with Jordan Mason. He still seems like he's going to be the short yardage back, since that's where the tweet stemmed from, is that Aaron Jones was such a terrible short yardage player. That's where Jordan Mason comes in. You also have to remember that the Vikings already had finite draft capital, and yet then they still sent one of their important draft picks to the Niners to acquire a second running back. So they also view Jordan Mason as a key component to what they want to do. They also added to their offensive line significantly, brought in 2 more starters after releasing Garrett Bradbury. So yeah, I think they're going to be a more run-heavier team, let's start there, in order to protect J.J. McCarthy more and set him up for success, not go and be the same offense that they were under Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell last year. But then, yeah, just because Aaron Jones is looking at, I've been comping it all offseason to the Raheem Mostert 2023, and that Mostert goes over 1,000 yards, has 18 rushing touchdowns, but then look at the rest of his resume, and it was clearly an outlier season where we should have been fading and been behind him last year, and I was. I got a lot of things wrong last year, but not being high on Raheem Mostert was one of my correct takes. And for this year, I am much lower on Aaron Jones. Again, he probably will have a serviceable window, if not multiple windows, somewhere along the way. But we are talking about the first time in his career he went over 300 touches, and yet he had a career low efficiency in yards per touch. And so this is a guy that I do want to get off of, despite the things I'm saying, encouraging increase of what we think in efficiency for the running game. But I do want to get off Aaron Jones, which naturally then leads me to get higher on Jordan Mason, thinking he can become more than just a short yarded touchdown guy that's going to naturally cap Aaron Jones' ceiling.
You are, of course, preaching to the choir right now. I'm very much with you on Jordan Mason. And I think that was well said, like better for best ball when you don't have to worry about the starts, because we don't really know when those weeks are going to come, especially when they're splitting the workload. It's like when he doesn't score touchdowns, Jordan Mason probably not going to do a whole lot, and you don't want to start him week to week. He maybe if something were to happen, Aaron Jones gets hurt, maybe at that point we would feel comfortable starting Jordan Mason week to week, but certainly not expecting that early on. And doesn't add much in the passing game, so you don't love that from a season-long perspective. Tougher, like the floor is much lower when you don't have any involvement in the passing game, and you're not the guy who's getting the carries. But yeah, for best ball, just absolutely love him, because could have some multiple touchdown games this season. And if anything were to happen to Aaron Jones, I think the contingency value is also very high for Jordan Mason. So love to hear that. What do you think? Should we start a draft now? I was tempted when we started to just say, should we try to rip off 2 drafts? But I don't know exactly. I guess we don't save that much time moving from 30 seconds.
What time do you got to bring on the great Ryan Heath? You're lagging a little bit for me from time to time. Is that happening to anybody else? Your audio for a little while, your mouth is moving and I could hear you, and you were like off by 1 second. So like something just happened. So he's going to join us at 3, but you can stay on if you have a little bit of extra time. Then that would not be an issue. If you feel like if we start a second draft, if you have time to stay an extra 10 minutes, Heath can just join us halfway through or something. Okay. If that's the case, then yes. Also, tell me if I'm lagging. I may need to get out, restart, come back in. But if you are ready to start a draft, I can do that for sure.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, let me get us into one.
I'm closing some extra tabs too, just to make sure that we are good here.
Okay, cool. There we go. Got the overlay up. I'm going to join on my phone, as I need to do sometimes. Actually, I don't know if I need to right now. But I'm going to join. So we're going to be joining. I'll tell you when I hit the button for people who want to join with us. All right. I was one of the many people who had to like reset everything today. There was some lags in Underdog. Okay, we're ready. I'm going to hit the button now for a 20-second clock best ball mania. And I believe I'm the first person in. So if you want to join, I think you have time. Nope, now it's full. I don't know if that just happened really quickly or
Yeah,
okay.
We're good with the lag on my end now. Also, you are such a sicko, which I come to expect from you, but look at all these slow clocks and slow drafts you got going on. I made the decision. Oh, you're scrolling down for more. I made the decision this year to try to get all my 150 in via live drafts beginning at the end of July. So I've admittedly only fired a few bullets on both the Best Ball Mania and the DraftKings Lotto. I'm going to wait and start multi-tabling at closer towards August, which could be a mistake.
Very nice. I so far have also not done any drafts outside of streams. So I'm as you recall, I'm sure streamed all 150 of my drafts last year, and I didn't want to break the streak yet. So I'm at like 170 consecutive stream drafts. At some point, I will do some that are not.
How did that feel for you? Was it as much work as Pete tried to convince you it would be, or do you feel like it went over well and you want to do it again?
I do not want to do it again. Yeah, Pete actually has made the opposite case, that it's actually not that tough.
Oh, okay.
People can do it. And I try to convince people that it's difficult because I don't want anybody older than me to break my record as the oldest person to stream 150 Best Ball Mania drafts. No, it would be very manageable. I went on like 3 vacations last year, which, you know, I'm not going to complain about going on vacations, but it's a lot of time. Like you kind of need all that time if you're trying to stream 150 in a relaxed manner. So I ended up having to do some marathon streams pretty frequently last year to get through them. But it was, you know, it was fun. I was glad I did it. But you also like you draft with a lot of sharp drafters. People who watch streams tend to be a little bit sharper. Oh, yeah. Okay. So these are the ETR rankings on the left here. So Jahmyr Gibbs is at the top. Amon-Ra, Puka. Who do you like here?
I don't mind just getting the guy here in Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs or Christian McCaffrey? How are you feeling right now?
I don't draft a ton of McCaffrey. Is he your preference?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Let's do it then.
I love McCaffrey. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. He's one of those players that I think is polarizing, just because for people like me, I just can't see the vision of him staying healthy, which is probably the issue. Because obviously, if we knew McCaffrey's going to be healthy in the playoff weeks, like, yeah, he's a smash. Obviously, want McCaffrey, but there's just I have the fear, I guess, that McCaffrey is going to get hurt. He's not going to be available in weeks 15 through 17, and going to end up wishing I didn't have him.
It's a fair fear. Staying healthy is a skill, but also if he were healthy, again, this is the way I look at it, then he is probably going to outscore Saquon Barkley. He's going to be the RB1 because we even saw him not at full health last year, and the 2 games he played with Brock Purdy, and he outtouched Jordan Mason 42-3. Like, Kyle Shanahan did not care. He said, this is our guy. And he wasn't even efficient in those games, but he got all the touches. So now we're talking about him reportedly, supposedly at full strength. His only other 2 years where he played under Kyle Shanahan full season, he was the RB2 and RB1 in points per game. So it still seems like a discount for the overall RB1 if everything were like the dominoes were to fall correctly.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I'm. That's why I do defer to guests when they say they want to take Christian McCaffrey, because I'm like, I'm open to it. I understand the argument for it. I sometimes will take him like at 7 or 8. I usually don't take him in the top 6. I view the top 6 as basically a tier typically, where I have the first 5 who went here, and then Jahmyr Gibbs being the 6th in that tier. So I don't usually take him this high, but yeah, I absolutely see your point. Do you have any concerns about the coach speak of like trying to maybe manage his workload to keep him healthier?
No, they do that shit every year, and Kyle Shanahan again does not care. We do this every year, so no. Coach speak from the Niners does not matter. Does not matter at all. Like, we have this history going all the way back to Garoppolo of how Kyle Shanahan treats his players. There is no way they use anyone but McCaffrey.
And also, he wants to play. So there is like, yeah, it's easy to say that you're going to try to manage him. Okay, wait, we are on the clock.
Sure.
AJ Brown, Brock Bowers at the top, Tyreek Hill, Rashid Rice.
They're all amazing. I will go AJ Brown quite easily here, though.
Okay, easily over Brock Bowers. That's the only one that I'm surprised that he's the easy pick.
Yeah, and I hate talking because it sounds negative for Brock Bowers, who is probably the tight end 1. But in my opinion, elite tight end, just because, again, we have all these options you mentioned, AJ Brown included here. I would much rather go to the other positions, and then we wait around and come back, and then we can get either Trey McBride or George Kittle, who also could quite easily finish as the tight end 1 over Brock Bowers. Trey McBride, all the peripherals, target share, route participation, they were all better than Brock Bowers last year. He just didn't score touchdowns, which allowed Brock Bowers to score more points. And so can Trey McBride finish as the tight end 1? Yeah, quite easily. So Brock Bowers is a guy I'm not getting much of, if only because I view him equivalent to the guys going around later.
That's fair. Yeah. I also love Trey McBride. That is the one of the reasons I sometimes consider not taking Brock Bowers, but I'm tempted. And here, like, passing on Brock Bowers is tough for me at 19. I would almost always click that button, but this does give us the potential, like you said, of getting a falling Trey McBride, a falling George Kittle. Either one of them is possibilities, and I would snap draft either one of them if they do come to us. So yeah, that is a strong point that maybe there is some opportunity cost, because when you take Brock Bowers, then I'm usually disinclined to take Trey McBride or George Kittle. So love that call. And AJ Brown, obviously just a tier ahead of all of the wide receivers, in my mind at least, who are going behind him here. So I feel good. Feel good at the start.
We'll talk more about AJ Brown here in a second once our pick moves on. Let's see here.
Do you want to go with Trey McBride here, or would you?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with Trey McBride here. I like him more than these running. I don't mind Breece Hall, but everyone understands the volatility that comes with Breece Hall and playing with Justin Fields with a backfield that could use their other running backs more. So, yeah, I like Trey McBride here, as we talked about. Yeah, AJ Brown, like, he's a guy, you can tell who's drafting and who's not on social media whenever they talk about, like, you quote, you should be higher on this guy. That guy's AJ Brown, because if you look at wide receiver ADP, it's accurate. Like, you can't get higher on anyone. I want to be higher on everyone. Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors. You literally can't get higher on everyone because everyone is so good in that first 12 wide receivers. AJ Brown didn't have less than 26% of the team, or I'm sorry, he had less than 26% of the team's targets in only 2 games all year. Like, he was an alpha far ahead, not 1A, 1B with Devonta Smith. It is wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. And yet it doesn't matter because you can't really get higher on him. You just have to say, I want him over Brian Thomas, Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors in order to get him. So, yeah, wide receiver ADP,
which is tough to do.
It's outright accurate. Yeah, it's just accurate. So I like to get all those guys when I have a chance to. I usually hope that Chase Brown falls back to me in the 3rd round, because I believe he should be in the same tier as Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, just because no one's coming for the touches. The touches were there last year. They did absolutely nothing to address the backfield behind him this offseason. So by default, he just naturally walks into the same 23 touches per game that he had last season. So I came in expecting to fade Chase Brown. The Bengals did nothing. And I said, okay, well, I like touches, so I'll get him instead.
Yeah, he was pretty good with those touches too. Like, and he has proven over and over that he can handle the full workload. So yeah, I'm pretty high on Chase Brown this year, which I probably should be just as high on like Josh Jacobs for some reason. Probably because he's on the Packers. I'm a Vikings fan, but I struggle with taking Josh Jacobs. Whereas Chase Brown, I'm like, yeah, I love it. Feels good.
Okay, so are we on the clock or about to be?
We're now on the clock.
Okay, let's go ahead and get Amari and Hampton here.
Okay.
There are anyone can just Twitter search Najee Harris. There is no report yet, but everyone knows a report that's probably coming in the next 24 to 48 hours that every national reporter is just trying to make sure they have the details 150% correct. Because if you come out with the wrong report on Najee Harris, what's going on, you are going to be ridiculed and canceled. So
you think it's a real thing? You actually believe this? I've been skeptical.
Yeah,
you work for ETR, so I mean,
it doesn't matter who I work for, but like there's been so many angles and voices that I've heard the last 4 days. Like it doesn't go back to 24 hours. It goes back 3 or 4 days. And I think everyone's trying to make sure.
There might be people listening who are not familiar with what you're talking about.
And I don't want to say it because it's not official. I don't want to say what's going on. Just go Google Najee Harris.
So there are rumors. Yeah, you can Google it. I will say it.
You can say it. Yeah, you can say it.
This is absolutely not confirmed in any way. This is random people on Twitter, and I've been inclined to not believe this. But there are rumors that Najee Harris had a fireworks accident and is injured his eye and might affect his status. I have not.
I think it's more. I think it may be more than that too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to say it's not official. So. We're all waiting.
If it is a real story, then I feel bad about laughing and like seeming giddy that you think it's real.
Well, that's why no one's reporting.
If it is actually a real,
you can't come out with the wrong report. You cannot if it's that serious of an injury because it affects his livelihood. So it goes way beyond best ball and football. Having said that, we obviously bumped Amari Hampton up the ranks to make sure everyone gets him, and that's why you're seeing.
Do we want Devonta Smith? Do you want Devonta Smith, Zay Flowers, George Pickens?
George Pick. Oh no, let's go Devonta Smith. Let's get a little Eagle stack going here.
Okay, we missed out on Jalen Hurts for the stack, but I'm still happy to get
it. Doesn't matter. That's
both of the receivers.
Oh, Matt Murphy saying he just hosted a youth football camp. When was that? Was it like literally yesterday, Matt?
That is interesting. Okay. Matt says that he's fine. I hope that is the case that he's fine. And I still think Omarion Hampton could be an awesome pick, even if he is fine. But yeah. Okay. July 7th.
2 days ago. Okay. We need photos of this now. Okay, cool. 2 days ago, article came out yesterday.
Okay. I very much hope that is the case. All right. I was like, man, is Daigle hearing? Because you do ETR, you could hear things that some of us don't hear because there are people at ETR with connections to the teams. So,
yeah, and a few people message me. Yeah. But again, that's why that's no one knows. So no one's reporting because again, you can't report anything wrong on this. It's too serious of a rumor. I will say about the Chargers though, Omarion Hampton's happening no matter what. Anyways, like Omarion Hampton, you could be high on him anyways because the Chargers already showed us who they want to be. The first month of the season before their bye, they are second in neutral run rate. Then J.K. Dobbins, if you go back and look at his stats, J.K. Dobbins was terrible. He was only good in the first 2 weeks against the Raiders and Panthers. Terrible for the rest of the season. He just scored touchdowns, and touchdowns make it look better. He was so inefficient, and that's why Dobbins and Edwards are no longer on the team. And so, like, the Chargers want to be that run-heavy team that they tried to be until Dobbins and Edwards were just bad. So Hampton is happening. That's their identity.
We'll make our pick, and then I will expound on that.
Sure.
Do you like Treveyon Henderson, Dave Montgomery, Jordan Addison? I
like Henderson. Can you scroll down a little bit in the queue? Just overall. But I do like Henderson. Yes, I like Henderson among all of these players. Yes, Henderson.
Okay. I was just going to add, man, what were we talking about? I already forgot what we were talking about. Just speaking of Mathology, was just on Pete's stream before this one, and he was mentioning that the Chargers are in some rankings at least ranked like 6th in terms of their offensive line this year. Like they seem to be a much improved offensive line. So they want to run the ball. They've got an improved offensive line. Just things look good for the Chargers running game regardless.
Yeah, it's Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman. Like, of course they want to run the ball. And again, they tried to, then they realized they couldn't post by. They leaned on Justin Herbert instead, but that's not their identity. That's why you go out and sign Mekhi Becton so you can kick him outside and just form a much bigger and stronger offensive line. That's why you draft a running back in the first round. You're telling everyone exactly who you want to be and what you want to do. So yes, Omarion Hampton is happening this year for sure.
And Treveyon Henderson. So that's how are you feeling about Treveyon Henderson? So now we've got 2 rookie running backs behind the very veteran Christian McCaffrey. Treveyon Henderson, do you think he's going to take over that backfield?
I do, yes. It's just a matter of really Rhamondre Stevenson was one of the least explosive running backs in the league last year. Oh, go ahead. Let's look at what's happening here.
Khalil Shakur, Aaron Jones, Matthew Golden, Stephon Diggs. I'd say one of these 3 be my preference.
I'm okay with Matt. Matthew Golden's fine, honestly. I don't take much Stephon Diggs, honestly.
Okay. So the reason I was thinking I wanted to pass up on Shakir there is just and actually I think there's maybe week 17 correlation there, Buffalo and Philadelphia, right? They do play each other. So I guess we could have made the argument for Shakir there. But I'm concerned about not having enough quarterback outs right now. So I guess you can points either way as far as Shakir goes there. Just
the Khalil Shakir thought, the stacking. You're gonna have to stack. Stop me whenever you spot a stack I don't, because that probably would have been a good idea. But at least I feel like with the rookie pick so early, we've already protected ourselves at wide receiver with 2 veterans. So that's why I don't mind the shot at the ambiguous target tree with Green Bay. But no, Rhamondre Stevenson, what I was going to say, led his position with 6 fumbles last year. Whereas like Henderson, not only 7.6 yards per touch last season, but also unlike Quinshon Judkins, like Henderson was the pass catching back with at least 19 receptions, 3 of his last 4 seasons. So of course he can just open up as with multiple outs over Rhamondre Stevenson and eventually take over towards the second half of the season. So yeah, I love Henderson.
Yeah, I like where he's going in drafts. Like feels like about the right range. I wouldn't want to move him up too much without hearing more about his role. But yeah, feels like he's somebody that just has somewhat of a floor and then a really high ceiling. So I like that pick. I've heard him described as like a light Jahmyr Gibbs light, which is we do have Trey McBride if you want to go Kyler Murray here, and let's see somebody else you really like.
What about Jaylen Warren? Is that too many running backs?
No, we could do Jaylen Warren if you prefer him. I'm just slightly concerned about stacking, but yeah, we can always get a quarterback later.
Yeah, I guess the way I've been playing typically is this time of the year. And again, I don't have many bullets, so I'm deferring to you, is 3 quarterbacks. And since it's all a stock market, then right now, like CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Matthew Stafford, these guys, CJ Stroud was the QB 6 in ADP last year, and now he's just kind of left for dead at the end. It's like all we're doing is playing the stock market and saying, what if you were right last year? Like we don't care what happened last year. We're trying to take advantage of the dips. And so I've been waiting for those guys a lot more and pretty confident in taking them.
Okay.
Plus we have Matthew Golden, so we're already looking at Packer stacks. Who do the Packers play in week 17?
Baltimore.
Thank you. So I don't know how we get there. Isaiah Likely.
DeAndre Hopkins, Isaiah Likely. Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Justice Hill.
Yeah. Hopkins is someone I haven't been taking much of, only because, you start the Steve Smith memes of Baltimore's where those aging Odell Beckham. That's where the aging receivers go to die. Baltimore will always take them.
Yeah, true. But I don't know. D-Hop might still have another year in him. I believe. Maybe Lamar can revive him.
And we'll see what happens with Kyler Murray. May actually kind of fall back to us naturally.
Oh. All right. I mean, that's easy click, right?
Yep. Let's get lucky here. But yeah, this is about the time with Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, that Tua. This is about the time I start thinking about 3 quarterbacks. I like doing that. Not that I'm against the elite quarterbacks. I love the elite quarterbacks, the big 4. But it does seem like, for the obvious reasons, it takes elite draft capital to get there. And again, we got these guys who were drafted as top 12 quarterbacks last year who are not being treated as such. So the 49ers are also just the most 49ers and Drake May are the most obvious clicks. Drake May is just Jaden Daniels of last year, where he already showed he has the rushing juice, but he's not being treated as a top 12 guy. So that's an easy one to get as a fringe QB1 and start your stacks with, because all the Patriots go later on. And the 49ers just are being incorrectly viewed because they had a injury-riddled, terrible year, but they're all now discounted for it. And all of them shown they can win your league. George Kittle was still the tight end 1. Juwan Jennings, just an absurd 40% target share with Deebo Samuel off the field. Christian McCaffrey, if he's healthy, can be the RB1. So you just literally take all the dips on the 49ers and stack them up with Brock Purdy.
Love that. Yeah, I got to say, I was one of my original hot takes on this channel, and it felt like more of a hot take at the time, was that JJ McCarthy is going to outscore Drake May this year. And it partially was a hot take because I was saying it to Saquon.
It's a hot take.
Very high. He's very high on the Patriots. But like, as far as the ADPs are going, they've come much closer together. So at this point, it's like some drafts JJ McCarthy is going to go ahead of Drake May, and I'm like, I mean, I'm not like that confident. It was meant to be a hot take. It's not meant to be like this is 100% what I think is going to happen. Like Drake May feels like pretty good click also. So yeah, I'm getting more Drake May now, because sometimes you'll see him fall into the 120s, the 130s even in some drafts,
which is crazy, right? Because again, you can stack all his guys later on.
Like, you want to go
Demario Douglas and Kyle Williams.
Do you like Trey Harris or Christian Kirk here?
We didn't draft George Pickens. We drafted Matthew Golden, right? Okay.
No,
I would say, just want to make sure. Trey Harris is good. Yeah, ETR, we're higher on Christian Kirk as well. I don't think that's consensus, since everyone has rookie fever, particularly on Underdog, whereas Christian Kirk is going to open the year in the slot and most likely just eat like Stephon Diggs did. Jalen, as much as I love the Texans rookies, they still have to earn a role there ahead of 2 starters, Christian Kirk being the other starter. So we really, really like Christian Kirk, which again is not public opinion.
Yeah. D-Row says not a hot take at all to JJ McCarthy being ahead of outscoring Drake May this year. Of course, D-Row has the actual hot take, which is that JJ McCarthy could be a top 6 quarterback this year. So
that is a very
he's better at that. He's willing to go a little bit further than I am there. I would love it if that's the case, because I'm drafting a ton of JJ McCarthy. Absolutely love it this year. But yeah, and also when you're talking about structurally stacking JJ McCarthy, it's obviously just harder to do, because you're talking about Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, whereas again, the Patriots starting wide receivers just go in the 13th to 15th round. We start with Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, so it's just easier to stack Drake May. So about when it's talking about like draft capital, I'll just take Drake May over JJ McCarthy every time because I can get his teammates. Yep. I did not realize that Justin Herbert went at 114 in this draft. I took Trey Harris thinking, all right, that gives us one more quarterback out. Justin Herbert actually went the pick before
I like
us.
Trey Harris anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, I do too. And then we Jordan Love, we lost out there. So we don't have other backstack options or other quarterback options at this point. But we can obviously add to some. Christian Kirk still makes it here back to us. Do you like any of these tight ends? Anybody else you prefer over Christian Kirk?
Christian Kirk or Romeo Doubs, if we're still looking at this Jordan Love. And
Jordan Love already went.
Oh, he did. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
If that's the case, let's just get Christian Kirk.
Okay.
Did CJ Stroud already go?
I don't believe so. No, he did not.
Okay.
So I'm going to
star him.
Yep.
Yeah, we got tons of outs still.
Yeah, we got outs. I'm flustered by this 20-second clock. I'm not used to it. It's just like every time it's like, oh my god, we're also like not on the end, so it's like we don't have that much time between any picks. It's
Underdog did not think about streaming. They did not think about our problems.
Yeah, why don't they think about us? You gotta think about us, Underdog. Yeah, I mean, I do prefer the 20-second clocks, but yeah, it's a little bit tougher for streaming.
As D-Bro also points out, LAC Chargers, not Clippers. Chargers, yeah. Houston, week 17. That's one that also at ETR we are higher on. We understand it could be very ugly. It could be run heavy for sure. But also if things go the right way, we could definitely just get all the talent exploding there. So like stacking that game up.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one.
We'll see what else we can get there too.
Yeah.
There's still multiple Texans outs here, but we'll see what happens.
I've noticed Trevor Lawrence has been falling pretty frequently recently, which always surprises me because he like ranks pretty highly at ETR, which is one of the big market movers. But for some reason, people are low on Trevor Lawrence.
Do we think that's just because it's hard to stack them up?
Yeah, that's probably. I mean,
because Diamond Brown's still a guy who goes later on,
and Brenton Strange, yeah. But I'm surprised you don't get him going higher because of the two earlier picks in Travis Hunter and BTJ. Like I would have thought, like that would kind of limit how far Trevor Lawrence can fall. But I guess people are just bored with it at this point.
He always seems like someone that's a conflicting opinion the last 3 off seasons where we've been higher on him just as a starter and he hasn't reached his ceiling at all yet. But this year we at least have an offensive minded coach. And it's easy to stack him up with like the backdoor players.
Yep. And last year it was Christian Kirk was one of the big ETR guys last year. And I guess it's happening again this year, but now much Love all it. Right. We get Stroud.
Yeah, let's perfect. Do it for sure.
It's going great for us. This draft is working out. Good to see all of you in chat, by the way. I feel like I'm just not talking to anybody because the draft is going so quickly. So it's just, I don't have time to talk to chat, but good to see all of their.
Yeah, we're already going on round 12. Jeez, it is going fast.
Yep.
Have you also been doing DraftKings and drafters currently?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Doing a ton. Well, I actually have not done any drafters yet, but I've done. I haven't done as many on DraftKings because I'm going to be streaming a ton of DraftKings next week. I'll be making an announcement about that soon, I think. So I've been saving some of those so that I can stream them all next week.
It's softer. It's 100% softer.
Honestly, I think it's more fun because it's softer. It's both. It's softer, but it's also just like more chaotic. So it's like you'll have drafts where things don't go well because you're like, I have all these 3 quarterback outs and I only 5 picks between me and my next pick or whatever it is, and then they'll all go just like so quickly. They all go and it's like, oh my god, I just lost out all my quarterbacks.
Plus the loss of
other drafts where things work out.
The room just doesn't fully comprehend the full PPR that gets you out. So you don't need to be prioritizing running back as heavily there, and yet everyone forgets that the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean people. Yeah, Derrick Henry goes I think higher on DraftKings than Underdog. I could be wrong about that.
I don't think you're wrong about that. No, which is crazy.
Yeah, on a full PPR site. It's interesting the way people
Tua just going as well. It's pretty easy to onslaught him, even after Jonnu Smith got traded now too.
Yeah. Because you can now take Darren Waller with your Tua stack. Who else do you take late on Miami?
Oh, not even taking late. Like I'm just talking.
Oh, you just mean earlier.
Yeah. Okay, like you can get Achane, Tyreek, Waddle, and Tua. Like you just nuke the.
I guess I've never tried that. That's
Oh,
interesting because that's something in years past. It's been like, yeah, why don't you try to, like, people would really go after that. And then after last year, people are kind of scared off it. That's interesting.
You can do that from the middle of the pack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Bengals, everyone knows you can do the Bengals at the front of the drafts. You just got to quote unquote reach on Chase Brown at the third round, but just do it. Just take 5 Bengals.
You want to go Doubs here? Quentin Johnston.
Sure.
I like Doubs. I know Debro's going to like it. All right.
We're taking multiple shots on, again, an ambiguous target tree since we just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Doubs, like where he's priced, just feels like should be going a couple rounds higher than he is at least. Like it just feels like he's one of the safer bets on the Packers. So big fan. Yeah, Debro has confirmed.
And still getting back on Jaden Reed, if we believe that since in the games that Jordan Love played, they had a higher pass rate. If we believe that's going to be true, that's the offense they want to be, that you can get back in on all these guys. Just evaluate Jaden Reed the same way you did last year, except with this massive discount now. Yeah,
I've actually, as a Vikings fan, I disavow the Packers, but I also do draft them quite a bit. I do love taking some Jordan Love. I think Tucker Kraft is a pretty fun tight end who doesn't necessarily show up in the advanced stats, but like you just watch him, it's like that guy's a dog. Like I just think that he's talented.
He's Jeremy Shockey. Yeah, dude, this guy will run you over and talk about your children. Like he's a scary, scary individual.
Yeah. Which is fun to draft it. Like pick 130-ish. You can kind of double click Love and Tucker Kraft and then add Doubs later. It just it's a pretty easy team to build around.
Especially because after the big 3 tight ends, I know everyone has their favorite, but like remember, Sam Laporta was unusable for 2 months. So like Sam Laporta is Tucker Kraft, is Kyle Pitts, is Mark Andrews, everyone.
That's right. That's another one of your tweets that I loved.
I'm not kidding.
And then it's just a flat tier. I think you're 100% right. Yeah.
Jake Ferguson, they're all the same guys. And I'm not saying I don't like some of them, but they are like all the same. So just prioritize however you want to. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Do you like Cam Ward here? Do you want to go quarterback or Wando Robinson, Adam Thielen?
If we go Wando Robinson, we can just wait for Jackson Dart tack on as a third quarterback. Because we're gonna get him in week 17.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, the Giants not only have the toughest first month of the season, but they have the league's toughest schedule this year overall. They have their bye, I believe, in week 8. So like Jackson Dart is 100%.
Giants in week 14.
Oh, the bye in week 14? Okay, so it's the toughest first 7 games of any team and the toughest schedule. So we are getting Jackson Dart for the second half of the season for sure. And he has rushing juice. He didn't just do it just because he was playing under Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Like he is a running quarterback.
Yeah, that's a fun add to this team. Now we've got 2 rushing quarterbacks, and CJ Stroud feels like, even though he doesn't run, just has pretty big potential anyway. Just considering where we're drafting him last year, what if he just returns to what he was 2 years ago? The team stays healthy, could see big things.
Geno Smith, along with Jackson Dart, Geno Smith, Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young. Bryce Young added rushing points at the end of the year when he came back. And Tyler Shough, which Rich Rebar makes fun of me because I am drafting Tyler Shough as a third quarterback, understanding he's probably not good. Okay, hold on. Let's see here.
Jalen Noel for a stack. But that would
we have to have
receivers. We have to have them. Love that. Okay.
And then we're done with wide receivers here.
Yep.
But yeah, Tyler Shough is a starting quarterback. Spencer Rattler is not competition. He got benched for Jake Hayner. Spencer Rattler's not playing professional football. So Tyler Shough is going to start 17 games if he's healthy. And I have no idea if he's going to be good, but I know he's available in the last round. So I will just take it and close my eyes and cross my fingers.
And he's probably going to start most of the season, if not all of the season. So
absolutely. Yeah. It's like Bo Nix. Bo Nix was, last round pick last year. But Bo Nix definitely had more rushing juice than Shough, who is a pocket statue and wasn't good as a pocket statue. But again, he's playing under offensive-minded coach and Kellen Moore. We don't know anything about the Saints, so I'm just taking on the leverage and saying, well, I can get him late. That's fine.
Are you taking him when you don't have anybody else from
3 quarterback builds? Yeah. No. You can always get Juwan Johnson. You can get the other backups too. Kendry Miller goes late. Rashid Shaheed still goes late. So
yeah. True.
I'll be the first to tell you, I think Tyler Shough sucks. Yeah, for sure. But again, I don't know. And so I'm just going to keep saying we're playing for $1 million here. I'll go against my own analysis since I don't know. It's fine.
I particularly like him in Superflex, which I guess they're not running those contests anymore, but I draft him a ton there. All right, Cade Otton, Justice Hill. I'm going to turn off the wide receiver tab.
Yeah, I guess you mentioned Justice Hill earlier, right?
I did mention Justice Hill as a Green Bay bring back, or Keaton Mitchell.
I also like Blake Corum or Dalton Schultz here too, but that's okay.
Did not have time, but I think Justice Hill works for this team. He's the highest ranked running back.
20 seconds, yeah, totally fine. I usually wait. We couldn't do it on the stream, but I usually wait a little longer for Keaton Mitchell if he's still out there over Justice Hill, just because again Keaton Mitchell wasn't healthy, so I do not assume Justice Hill is going to be the backup there.
Yeah. Keaton Mitchell showed some juice. Like he's a pretty fun late round click. Debro was telling us that we needed to wait on Keaton Mitchell also, so you guys are aligned on that. Justice Hill, but I think Justice Hill still has his value. He's just like he is the pass catching back. Doesn't have the same atomic upside as I think Keaton Mitchell does. If anything were to happen to Derrick Henry, I think Keaton Mitchell is more likely to take over the lion's share of the work. Would you agree with that, or do you think Justice Hill maybe is live to take on a bigger rushing workload?
I think it would be a split, but Keaton Mitchell is the far more explosive player, as he showed just 2 years ago. So I don't think it'd be like Ray Davis, whereas like he didn't have a role. James Cook goes down. They give every touch to Ray Davis because he's just the better overall back over Ty Johnson. And then Ray Davis goes back to being just a complimentary piece. Ty Johnson, the pass catching back. I think it would be closer to a split with Mitchell and Justice Hill.
Okay. We could also take, we could take Keaton Mitchell as well if you want to make that bet, or we could just take one of these other running backs if you like one. We could go with Jackson Dart here if you think that's the appropriate 17th round pick. If you don't love anybody else,
I still love Blake Corum.
I'm open.
I love the Blake Corum, Jarquez Hunter argument.
Corum goes one pick before us.
All right, so Jackson Dart or Dalton Schultz, since we need another tight end, but we can also wait. It doesn't matter to me.
Do you have a preference?
Let's go Jackson Dart because we can always wrap it around and go Theo Johnson to stack with Jackson Dart as well.
Okay.
Giant stacks are also fun.
Oh, that's true. Good call. Yeah.
Everyone knows like the bad group of backup tight ends were all drafting in the last round. Like whatever. They gave Juwan Johnson what was it, 21 million guaranteed, which is insane.
Did somebody take Theo Johnson? I'm not seeing him.
Did they?
Let me look at the board.
Maybe they did. Type it in. Search.
There, he won at 199.
Oh, okay, right after us. That's why. Okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Let's find another bum to take.
Oh, and Dalton Schultz went too. Yeah, there's plenty of options in the 18th round at tight end. Like I'm not concerned about, but yeah, we do need a second tight end here.
Jatavian Sanders, Juwan Johnson. Those are my two favorites.
I like both. Noah Gray seems like he has some upside if anything were to happen to Travis Kelce. A little bit of standalone value. Harold Fannin.
Gosh,
but yeah,
how bad is this?
What are your thoughts on Cade Stover as an 18th round pick? Not saying we need to do it in this draft, but I almost think it's not too crazy. But I'm happy to go Jatavion Sanders.
We have Trey McBride. If you want to go Cade Stover, let's do it. I think he's still blocked by Schultz, but I don't, range of outcomes. I don't care.
Yeah, let's do it. You're right. We have Trey McBride. We can afford to take a guy who might be.
I am not going to argue with you about Cade Stover or Jatavian Sanders. I do not care.
I'll take Jatavion Sanders on almost every team, but between those two. But since we have CJ Stroud, I don't know, he looked like they were starting to favor him last year before he got hurt, over Dalton Schultz, which obviously he needs to prove it again. He needs to be healthy, all that. But I don't know. He showed a little bit of juice. I'm hopeful there.
Yeah, and Terrence mentions about Tyler Higbee isn't dead when referring to Terrence Ferguson. That's the same way I feel about Rhamondre Gadsden, which is also an 18th round guy. It's not Will Dissly. Tyler Conklin just got, I believe it was 10 million on the open market. He's not dead. It's basically a 1-year deal where he blocks Rhamondre Gadsden. So the rookie tight ends, it's not my scene. Even I love Harold Fannin too, but just how are we going to get there? I know David Njoku's on the last year of his deal, but man, a lot has to happen for a rookie tight end to get there.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the team. So we have at quarterback Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, Jackson Dart at running back, Christian McCaffrey, Omarion Hampton, Treveyon Henderson, Jalen Warren, Justice Hill. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Matthew Golden, Trey Harris, Christian Kirk, Romeo Doubs, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Jalen Knoll. Tight end, Trey McBride, and Cade Stover.
It's a structurally sound team.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
If you screenshot it on Twitter, I don't think it'd get reactions aggressively in either direction. I just think it's structurally sound. Not sexy, but also I think we did everything right here for 20-second clock.
This is a classic B+ for me. Like, we didn't get any crazy good ADP followers. We got a little bit of a fall on Kyler, which worked out really well. Got a little bit of a fall on CJ Stroud. So those were pretty nice to get those when we already had them stacked up. In general, though, like not crazy great ADP value, but I feel pretty good about the team. I think it's like you said, structurally sound. I like the players. We drafted in the right buckets at each position. Ultimately, I think it's a pretty good team. Do you want to start another one? What do you think? And
let's start another one. Sure.
All right. I'm going to get into it right now. I'll tell you what I'm getting in.
I got nothing going on in life. I told you I had to get off. I couldn't do a second draft, but my plans got canceled because of the weather. So now I'm just a boring man who's just going to
love that for me.
Work and write whenever I get off this. So it's okay.
Bummer for you, but I love that for me.
It's okay.
Yeah, happy to have you on for another draft.
I gotta finish the Stacks article that I'm putting out on ETR tonight. Shout out to me, and shameless plug. And then I have to build MLB lineups here in the next hour and a half too. But yeah, it's fine.
I didn't know that you play MLB DFS.
Oh, buddy, I'm in the streets. I'm in the streets every day. It's my favorite sport because it takes the least amount of work.
It's super easy. Yeah, I don't know why I've stopped playing. I play a little bit here and there. I was doing content on it for a while, and then I just decided to dive all in on NFL content. So I stopped doing MLB content for the rest of the season. I've just stopped playing for the most part. Occasionally I'll get the itch and then I'll play, but I have not been playing every day. And I also miss it.
It's naturally works for me because I like baseball. I kind of got with playing DFS again every day. My passion for baseball got sparked tremendously again. So I now pay attention to every team. I go to a lot of games. Like I told you on Monday night, I went to the White Sox game. I go to every Cubs game. I love baseball again out of nowhere. So it also,
you go to every Cubs game?
I do. Yeah. It also helped me rekindle because Evan Silva is a season ticket holder. And so it helped me rekindle my brotherhood more than just a friendship with Evan Silva. Like when we lived together, we were truly brothers. We were a family, a married couple, as people called us. And then for a year, we got away from each other because obviously when you see someone for every hour of the day, you're absolutely sick of them after a year. We didn't want to talk to each other a lot from my end. I was just sick of them. And then, the Cubs kind of reignited our flame. So we were just back to talking and seeing each other literally every day again.
You see each other literally every day? That's funny. Even though
we see each other,
you're not living together now.
We see each other, call or text each other literally every day. Every day. Yeah.
That's great.
We know the exact bar to go to because we're both not far from it. If we want to watch a Cubs game together or stick around for post game, I know I don't even have to text him. I can walk to that bar and I know where he's going to be and I know the seat he's going to be at.
Well,
I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't want that bar to get crowded. So
you don't want people to start taking your bar. Yeah, that's fair. I don't want to brag, but you may not know that I'm friends with Chicago Cubs All-Star Justin Steele, who comes
I did
on.
not know that.
Yeah. I do stream sometimes with our guy D-Bro and Fantasy Guru Drew and Justin Steele. Always a good time. He's a big fantasy football fan. He was actually the Cubs are here in Minnesota right now, I believe.
Yeah, they're playing Twins.
Yeah, we were. He was going to get us tickets to front row tickets to over the bullpen to watch those games for me and D-Bro and Drew were going to come to town to Minnesota. So we were going to have a good time.
Wow.
And of course, Justin got hurt. So plans fell through.
Second serious injury in a row for a season 2, man.
I know. I feel so bad. And he's right. Hard. He's due for a big second contract, so it's really bad timing for him. But
we could just turn this into a baseball conversation. I'll talk baseball all day long at the Cubs with you.
I could not talk baseball with you all day long. I'm happy to. What are your thoughts on? I mean, the Cubs are awesome right now.
Also, the Twins pinch hit everyone, so it's a little bit tougher too.
Yeah,
they're like the Rays. They love platooning their guys.
The baseball is definitely my third sport after football and basketball. So I don't watch every game. I watch when it happens to be on. If I like have money on it and I want to talk about baseball, please know says Mr. Puppin.
The chat does not want this to become an MLB stream. That's okay. I get it. It could, it has gotten faster since the pitch clock. That's also why I got out of it. I thought it was too boring. And I've since gone back and watched the Cubs, like all their playoff games from the 2016 World Series run. And it's great. Like some of those games are 4.5, 5 hours. Impossible. I would not be a fan if that was still the case. But now we can get out of there in 2.5, 3 hours quite easily. So it's a lot more fun again.
It is kind of nice in that way.
It's not fun if you're like going to a game and you just wanted to load up on alcohol. Like it takes away from that time. But yeah, it's still fun.
Well, this is not ideal. So we got the 5th pick. After getting the 6th pick last time, we're just getting these middle of the board picks. But, it's a little bit different. We can maybe mix things up a little bit. Yep. Where do you where's your preferred place to draft?
The end this year. It's still minus EV compared to the front. The best players are logically still in the front. And so if you look at any like actual chart of expected value, the front is still the best place to draft optimally. I think you can have the best builds from the back this year, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just prefer it. It's more fun drafting from
because you can double tap elite wide receiver. Or you can still go hero RB because you do have McCaffrey, Achane, Henry back there. So the world is your oyster in the back. You can go whatever route you want.
It really is. Yeah. And sometimes it's kind of a tier break. I think I prefer like 5 is probably better than 2 for me. I would think.
Yes.
Just like at the very beginning is tough. I kind of like pigeonholed because you get Jamar Chase. Yeah.
Yeah. You're pigeonholed into Chase, Barkley, Justin Jefferson, the first 3. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. And with 5, sometimes you get a faller. Like you see Saquon fall to pick 5 sometimes, which is kind of fun. You never really know. CeeDee Lamb goes 2 here, so we're live for a fall.
Yeah. And I don't have much because again, you have to draft randomly one of the first 3 bullets. So I do not have much Bijan or Jefferson right now, just because I haven't been getting those draft picks.
Okay. All right, Jefferson goes.
But I do love both Bijan and Jefferson still. Bijan especially.
Yeah, I mean, we can Bijan. So is it between Saquon and Bijan here, whoever falls to us?
Yeah, well, I just, like I always say at this time of the year, it would just be Barkley. We just take the fallers because, again, you have to have a top pick to get these guys. So just worry about flattening your exposure as the months go on. Just take the guys that fall right now. Do
you see the ADP, though? Bijan has actually flipped Barkley in terms of ADP.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm still happy to go with Barkley here.
I think we still go Barkley, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting though that like that's becoming a thing where you can get Barkley this later and later
because if you look, Devon Achane went RB1 at the 4th spot.
Yeah. I mean we're
already bored. Start the season, we're already all bored.
I love it. I mean that's what you can really take advantage of as somebody else who's not getting bored. Just like take advantage of other people getting bored. It could also be that they're trying to do like different combos, that kind of thing. Have you looked at? I guess ETR put out their. They have a little thing where you can look at the DraftKings combos on the website. Have you played around with that at all? Looking at the different
I have not played with it just yet. I have only done my promos for DraftKings so far. So I literally honestly only have 7 drafts on DraftKings right now, just in the big lotto, but I'm going to enter more of the high stakes contest. Again, I'm waiting till end of July, August for that, just because I want more accuracy for those kind of contests.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Jack Miller's doing a lot of crucial studies, in my opinion, on best time to draft, best pick, things like that this offseason for us. And even he showed, it makes the most sense, but the advance rate is significantly higher, like a big difference when you draft in August compared to any other month.
I've been citing that work quite a bit, Jack's work, in part because I've been stating my opinion that you can really apply that. Like it applies to BBM, obviously, but it really applies to the Eliminator. I think like people, like drafting later in the Eliminator to me is actually a pretty big edge. If you look at Jack Miller's data, it's just like, yeah, you score teams that are drafted later in the season score a lot more points than teams. I mean, no, I shouldn't say a lot more. It's like 20 to 30 over weeks 1 through 14, but weeks 1 through 14 doesn't really matter for regular best ball because you don't advance until after week 14 and you're competing against people that you draft with, whatever. But for the Eliminator, like that is an actual advantage because you start every week. You're advancing as soon as week 2. So you could be a team that you drafted in late August can play against a team that was drafted in April, and you're just going to have a huge projection edge.
Yeah. I think Peter Overzet just put out content. Let's go ahead and figure this out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lad, Bucky Irving, Rashid Rice.
I think it's I like Bucky Irving a lot here. I never usually start running back, but
you're Bucky over Lad.
I am Bucky over Lad. Yeah.
Surprised me a little bit. All right. Yeah. Pete just put out his Eliminator piece yesterday. Excellent work. You should check it out if you have not already done so. I put out an Eliminator piece on this channel. It's the only piece of content that I have behind the paywall. So if anybody is interested, if you're not, it's $5 a month to sign up.
I don't want to take away from your paywall material, but at least for one aspect, did you also come to the same conclusion as Pete that stacking week 1 is optimal?
So I didn't run any sims or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm not trying to. So yes, in terms of I want to have a team that is going to be,
and the contest is early, so perhaps that's wrong. But yes, that's the conclusion he came to. So sorry to cut you off.
Well, yeah. So like, I'm not playing for week 1 in the sense that I'm not like trying to game stack in week 1. But yes, I'm 100% trying to build teams that are going to be strong in week 1. So I'm not like. Not from the perspective of like, ooh, I think this is a juicy matchup in week 1. This game's in a dome in week 1, that kind of stuff. But from the perspective of, yes, I want to have a team that is going to be strong from week 1, that you're going to have a full, like a strong player at each position. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that is the correct approach, but I'm not specifically focusing on week 1. It's more like a specific focus on the early part of the contest. All right. We are back. Trey McBride here, Chase Brown, Breece Hall. Do you want to go 3 running backs to start? What do you think?
I mean, Chase Brown, Saquon, Bucky, Chase Brown. That's so boomer. It's hot. I would say Chase Brown or Devontae Adams. I don't have many like 3 strong RBs, so it's you. It's kind of, I don't know if it's a unique start, but it feels good. It looks good.
It's unique for me also. So it's unique for us at the very least. I actually tried to get Devontae Adams in there at the last second, but I misclicked it and dropped it. I don't know if I could have gotten in time, but I'm happy to do something a little bit different here. I have not been drafting a ton. I've only done 4 eliminators because they have put out the promo if you do 4 of each different contest. But I don't think that like that is not something that I specifically advised to just to play for week 1. Like I'm playing for putting up strong points every season. So like, I don't think a lot of what I said is counter to what Pete said in his video. Some of it is different. Like there are different angles that I play. I think you can apply them along with some of the angles that Pete's talking about.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'll have to check out yours as well.
Yeah. So that's, like I said, it's the only piece of content behind the paywall. But if you are interested in playing some Eliminator, but the one piece of advice that I am giving people for free is I think you should wait. I think there's actually a big advantage to waiting until August, preferably even late August, to play the Eliminator. That's generally what I'm doing, is waiting on doing a lot of those drafts. But if you really want to play now, or if you just want to start thinking about some things a little bit differently, you can find that it's $5 a month to sign up for the Flannelverse. But in the meantime, Pete's is actually free. If you go check out his video in the Deposit Kingdom, he did a deep analysis running some sims based on best Ball Mania teams from last year. What an asshole. Awesome content from Pete. Go check that out as well.
Breece Hall in the 4th is fun too. Drake London, Devontae Adams. That's
a 39.
What did he take in the first round?
Ashton Genty.
Oh, that's a really good team. I like that team a lot.
Yeah, Devontae Adams too. That's a really fun team.
Yeah, that's a really great team. Okay, so what are we looking at here?
We got, possibly Hampton again.
If we draft Hampton, it's just going to be a 4 RB team. We're not touching another one.
We probably don't. We could go for running backs and call it. Or Xavier Worthy goes. Who do you like it? We could go Hampton, or do you like any of these wide receivers?
I would say Hampton over these wide receivers, which is stupid.
We go Devonta Smith and hope that Jalen Hurts comes back. No, let's just do it. Let's just do four running backs.
Neither of us usually do this. So let's see what this looks like.
Yeah. And then we're done. We're done at running back.
Look at this. Look at this running back room, though. This is crazy.
This is a BBM who aims. I see Ryan Heath he's showed up. He is not at his computer right now because he probably saw that we're doing a draft and does not feel there. Okay, Ryan is coming back.
I would say, Ryan, you could jump in. We don't care. I don't know if you have.
I'll wait. We got the thumbs up from Ryan. Ryan is ready to go. So I'm going to. I gotta remove this overlay. I think
Let's say you got to do that on your end. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Bringing Ryan in. Ryan Heath from Fantasy Points. I believe Ryan's first appearance in the Flaniverse. We have streamed together at Fantasy Points before we did a cage match together. But Ryan, this is your first time in the Flaniverse, is it not?
It is, yeah. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on. Should be fun. It looks like a cool little draft you guys have going so far here.
Yeah, we so if you did not know this, Ryan, we were thrown off a little bit by just today. Underdog announced they got rid of the 30-second draft clock, so we decided to do to get a second draft started. Figure you can join for this one, and then we'll continue with another draft after this one. But yeah, so we have started with a 4 running back build. What do you think? Do you do a lot of 4 running back starts, Ryan?
I don't do it a lot, but I mean, fun team to do on stream for sure. So I can get down with it.
We're throwing shit against the wall and hoping it sticks. By the way, Ryan, we somehow have never overlapped yet, so I am honored to be here with you.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. It's really happy to meet you and talk to you for the first time as well.
Meet each other, quote meet each other, sure, yeah.
DK Metcalf at 53 feels pretty good, right?
I love DK Metcalf and Calvin Ridley. I love a good useless 150 targets. Let's do it.
Yep.
I mean, in the 5th round, when these guys are just going to get peppered, I know they're going to be bad targets, but they're going to get peppered. I will absolutely do it.
Yeah, especially on the team that we started with 4 running backs. Well, I'm happy that this is you guys' first face-to-face meeting at the very least. That's pretty cool.
We'll make it happen IRL soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think of meeting as like face-to-face. You're looking at each other. Like Twitter definitely is not meeting. In real life, whatever. Who actually meets in real life these days?
Doesn't count.
Like that's true. It's kind of whatever.
Wait, Ryan, you're not in Chicago also, are you?
No. I'm up in New Hampshire.
Oh, New Hampshire. Cool. Been there.
Far away from most people. Far away from both of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. For those who don't know Ryan is the wunderkind at Fantasy Points. Well, one of the many. There's a few sharp young minds at Fantasy Points. But Ryan always putting out great stats. It seems like you live in the Fantasy Points data suite, Ryan. You're just constantly finding new stats to talk about. Is that accurate?
That's pretty much right. Yeah, I just I spend my days messing around, filtering different ways, seeing if there's anything new or exciting I can tweet out about. Just constantly fielding questions from subscribers and analysts alike about like, how do I make this thing work? Or I can't find this thing. Please help me. Jake Seeley was in my DMs earlier yesterday asking about different like rushing schemes and stuff. So. Yeah, anyone out there that's a sub or that's in the industry or whatever, if you're ever curious or have questions on the data suite, I am definitely the person to ask.
I will probably take you up on that. We are on the clock, so we've got only DK Metcalf as far as wide receivers go. We like Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy, Jacoby Myers. You could take.
I love Addison here.
I love Addison here too. He will be suspended. That's one concern. Or he's likely to be.
We think it's at the beginning of the year, though, right? Where it we can replicate that production easiest at the beginning of the year.
And we are going to have volume at wide receiver at least. So yeah, that is true. Good point.
The suspensions are still like the edges here. If they dip in weeks 1 through 3, 1 through 4, doesn't matter. We can find that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. 100. I will ask you guys though, because I've gotten into arguments with Jacob Sanderson about this recently. Do you think that the suspension is quote unquote priced in to Addison right now? I would argue no, just because he's going so far below where he's finished. Whenever he's been healthy and on the field, he was like the wide receiver 16 by points per game last year in his healthy games. He's just well down in the 6th round. Like, to me, this is the market saying, yeah, he's going to be suspended for 3 games. But I mean, every time you think something's priced in on Underdog, it turns out it's not, and drafters react to news we knew was going to happen. So I don't know. I'm on the side of like, I'm just drafting him and I don't care. And if he falls further, I'll get more after he does get suspended. But I think it's interesting to think about at least.
I personally believe he is going to dip further if a suspension were to come down. Maybe not too much further, a round or 2, but I think he has a little bit more to go. But as you said, in this range, I will still take him. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's at least somewhat baked in. So I think I do fall on if that's what Jacob's arguing, that it's baked in somewhat, but also like you're saying, he probably would fall also. So like it's like somewhat baked in, but also part of the All right, we got to make our pick. Matthew Golden, Khalil Shakir, Stephon Diggs.
With this build, I'd say like Shakir just for really need targets.
Yeah. I have such a hard time with Shakir because he's such a boring pick. Everyone views him as like a ceiling player, but he doesn't get red zone or end zone targets. He gets used like Wan'Dale Robinson, except he plays with Josh Allen, not Daniel Jones. But we saw at least like Josh Allen only played 2 indoor games last year. And of course, that was the game. Not only did the Bills score 45 points in both of those games, Khalil Shakir actually reached his ceiling with over 100 yards and a touchdown. So yeah, on Josh Allen blow-up games, Khalil Shakir has a ceiling, but the way they use him like is not exciting. Everyone gets excited about it. It's really, really boring.
Yeah. I guess that is not my impression of the sentiment on Khalil Shakir. I feel like people think of him as being a boring floor pick.
Oh, really? I think everyone views him as like a ceiling slot receiver.
Interesting. Huh. Maybe I just think because that's the way I view him is like you. Like I think he's just like he's a lot of volume, not going to have, many 25, 30 fantasy point games.
Yeah, I do think that this is maybe where like DFS gives you an advantage, Neil, because Shakir every week last year was like, why is he projecting for 15 to 20% ownership when he has absolutely no ceiling? Yeah, just because people want to play someone with Josh Allen or whatever. But
only against the Rams and Lions did he screw us over. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
We also need to start thinking about our stacks at this point.
We do need to start. And no quarterbacks for. I mean, we only have 3 stackable players so far. We do have. I guess you can stack with running backs too. But as far as pass catchers go, we only have DK Metcalf, Jordan Addison, and Khalil Shakir. So no quarterbacks we need to take imminently. And then at running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, and Omarion Hampton. That is just sexy. All right, we are coming back up, so we will want to add another. I mean, we could take a quarterback also and then add on pass catchers later, but I feel like I'm more inclined to take a pass catcher here. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah, agreed. I'm pro Rashid Shaheed. I have been for his entire career, and I'm not stopping this year. Basically in healthy games with both him and Chris Olave, they've averaged like the exact same yards per out run over their careers. Shaheed was clearly outproducing him last year with them on the field together. Obviously, you don't love the Saints this year, but like Kellen Moore has run fast-paced offenses at the very least. So and he's obviously kind of the perfect like best ball format type of bet to make. So yeah, he's been a big exposure for me.
Yeah.
And when we don't have a quarterback yet, this is where Rich Rebar makes fun of me, and I come back with Tyler Shough QB3 in the last round.
Always looking for an excuse to get your Tyler Shough.
I do not want to be portrayed as Tyler Shough guy. It's only happening structurally. I do not think Tyler Shuck's a good player. But again, I'm going against my own analysis saying he's available in the last round with that offensive-minded coach and, like Ryan just said, a fast-paced environment. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I think you, especially on a team like this, like where we're going to need 3 quarterbacks, he could make sense for this team. I'm with you. I think he's totally fine quarterback 3. You don't want him in a 2 quarterback build. Like it's just probably not going to work out. But in a 3 quarterback build, let him maybe spike a couple weeks is all you really need. All right. Let's Pittman, Kupp, Keon Coleman, Trey Harris. I think those are our, or we could go Travis Kelce.
I just hate all of these players.
Correct.
This is why I don't draft 4 running back teams. Because then I stare down these
fair point.
I mean, we just got to go Keon Coleman or Trey Harris, right?
Justin Fields is also an option, potentially.
I do think Fields fits just in terms of like it's going to be a team that's harder to build stacks from. So he does kind of work here.
What do we think? I kind of like him here.
Fields is cool. I don't mind Fields.
I don't draft a ton of Fields, but like this is one where it's just like, we don't have. We need, I think, a quarterback with some upside, and we don't have great stacking options. I mean, we've got my guy JJ McCarthy. I'd love to get McCarthy on this team, and then we have the late Aaron Rodgers or Tyler Shough. But I feel like Fields is like a good starting point for us.
And we don't even need to stack Fields. Like we can just play Fields. That's it.
Yeah. I think that works for our team.
I was thinking Keon Coleman in terms of, Saquon, Coleman, and Khalil Shakir. So we have a little bit of a week 17 thing without the quarterbacks. But, I don't know how it fits with Keon and Shakir, if that's optimal at all.
Yep. All right. Karen says the UD market base is insular. The dip won't be deep because most people play and are consuming content, and content creators usually universally see the value and the money is at the end. Yeah, you see the dip happens a lot slower on Underdog than it happens on DraftKings, which is pretty interesting. Like the dip will happen on any kind of news for Jordan Addison like quickly on DraftKings. Underdog, the dip happens pretty slowly.
Mm-hmm.
What is this in reference to? Nico Collins was almost worthless with Davis Mills. I can't think of what that. What were we talking about? Were we talking about Nico Collins? I like Nico Collins quite a bit this year, but
everyone loves Nico Collins. It's like how I didn't give myself credit for Jaden Daniels last year. I'm not giving myself or anyone credit for Drake May and Nico Collins. No, that's too easy. It's too obvious. Yeah, everyone's gonna win that one.
Yeah.
Oh, he's saying Shaheed and Olave.
Oh, so they could be bad because of Tyler Shough. You say, okay, yeah, I hear you. It's possible.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
And yes, Nico Collins, it wasn't hyperbole. Nico Collins was actually completely useless with Davis Mills, but he was also only running one type of route at that time, and it was the route that Davis Mills could not throw. So,
yeah, no, could be disastrous having Tyler Shough there. Yeah, but which is why I'm not like way overweight on the Saints, but I still like they're good enough.
You should not be. But it's July. I'm not projecting to. I'm not pretending to know what's going to happen in July.
Christian Kirk is available here, or you could go with one of these tight ends. Could take JJ McCarthy. What do we think?
I would say Kirk. I think personally, but it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I think we kind of have to. That's just the build. Unfortunately, not a guy I'm drafting much, but
I kind of like him. I'm actually like pro. I think. Christian Kirk. Maybe that's how I take.
I wish we had another stacking partner with Dak. But at this point, we would just be taking like Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, we could be taking Jake Ferguson. All right, Justin Herbert goes. Got our potential quarterbacks queued up for the next pick. But I think we're catching up pretty well at wide receiver. Now we have DK Metcalf, Jordan Addison, Khalil Shakur, Rashid Shaheed, and Christian Kirk. The beauty of this team is we don't need to take more than 4 running backs. So we can also get there on volume with our wide receivers, with our tight ends, and with our quarterbacks. So I think we're in an okay spot, even with a unique start.
Update. We are also at the Deontay Thornton part of the SFB draft Chicago. I just got that notification. So all hell is already broken loose. There's no one good left.
Uh-oh. So you're on the clock.
I'm about to be, but Jalen Noel's still there, so I'm just going to take him. That's fun.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
But I think last round I took Raheem Mostert. Again, we're at that part of the draft, so
Deontay Thornton went before Jalen Noel in your draft. All right, do we just go with CJ Stroud here? Do you see anybody that's worth pushing it?
I really like Loveland. I've been drafting a lot of Loveland, but I'm totally fine going Stroud here too.
We don't have a tight end. All right, let's do it. Let's do Loveland.
The Loveland and Njoku, like this whole tight end tier is kind of my favorite that I've been hitting on a lot.
And CJ Stroud could come back to us. We just had him fall back to us around here in the last draft. It's not the likeliest thing, but it could happen. So yeah, I'm happy to get some Loveland there. Daigle, you're in the dynasty league that I'm in now, right? With Leone as the commissioner, or you're not in that one? It's a lot of ETR guys. I forget which ones though.
Is it on FFPC?
It's in my FF. I don't even know the platform.
No, I don't think. I don't think I'm in that. I still have a lot of leagues on Sleeper and FFPC.
Okay. Yeah, I was asking because my first pick was like I had the 107, the 108, and it's also TE Premium. It's the first Dynasty League I've ever played and the first Tight End Premium League I've ever played. And I went with Colson Loveland with my first pick, which I think was like the 107, the 108 maybe. I was curious to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think? Ryan, you're a Dynasty guy.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, with the the 107 in your rookie draft, you mean? Yeah,
rookie draft. Yeah.
I thought we were in some like weird 2 tight end land or something. No. Here. But
tight end
I think Loveland's a totally solid pick at the 107. I think his price is great in Dynasty tight end premium right now. I will say that generally, I've kind of been driving the train of like anti-elite tight ends in best ball and in redraft and in manage this year a lot. But I do think that tight ends generally in tight end premium dynasty leagues, which it's most of what I play, it's a lot of like what the hardcore dynasty community plays. I also think they're undervalued there. Like people are way less willing to chase like the Bowerses and the Kittles and the McBrides really high up the board for some reason in the format where McBride is like outscoring Justin Jefferson last year. It's just very odd to me, but there's the thirst for it in every other format. So yeah, I love Loveland. Just can totally see that it's entirely possible that this is just how Ben Johnson wants to run his offense immediately. And Loveland just shoots up boards in dynasty and in seasonal. Yeah, I'm good. I think the price is quite reasonable on him in all formats right now.
Yeah.
I'll give my take in a second, but yeah, let's figure this out first.
Yeah. Doubs is there. We don't have a lot of backstacking. Let's see. Could go Pitts and go Penix and then try to get Pitts.
We can go Pitts and Penix. Tack on Ray McLeod in one of the last rounds.
Penix first, you think? Or Pitts? Oh, we got Penix. Okay.
Yeah, I think Penix first.
What I was gonna say though is like you say 107, but without further context, which you don't have time for, Neil. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if it's a good pick or not. Like, we can talk about the player take of Loveland, but yeah, I have no idea. Like, that may have been just what your team needed, so it's perfectly acceptable. I will say my overarching view of rookie drafts this year is that I got a lot of Matthew Golden and Emeka Egbuka, and it's not even about what I think about the players. It's the fact that guys like RJ Harvey and Colston Loveland, like those tight end premium guys, they were just boosted up. So it was like, okay, well, regardless of what I think about these receivers, like they're still going behind like these day two running backs, guys that like people just like more, even though they didn't get the draft capital like these other players. So I got the first round receivers a lot more than usual at the start of the second round, and that's kind of why I'm overweight on them. For best ball, I agree with, for season long best ball, I agree with Ryan. I'm going to be underweight Brock Bowers, as we just talked about, and it's not a Brock Bowers thing. It's the fact that for a round later and 2 rounds later, I can get McBride and Kittle, and that's all it comes down to. No offense to Bowers whatsoever. He's still going to murder the earth, but McBride can quite easily outscore him easily.
Yeah. We just took a second bye week 5 tight end. I got frazzled by taking a second bye week 5 tight end. Sacrificing potentially a few points. No, yeah,
bye weeks aren't real. Don't worry about it.
I'm the number one bye week bro. But I'm becoming less. I'm trying to recover from my bye week bro nature. Trying to factor them in a little bit less than I historically have. This is probably a 3 tight end team anyway, so not too concerned about it. I think it was between, by the way, Colston Loveland and Egbuka, and I'm kind of weak at my team is fine. Like, I do have AJ Brown on my dynasty team, so it's like got that going for it. And as Dallas Goedert at tight end, so like not super weak, but just the tight end premium and not really knowing what I'm doing exactly. I looked at JJ Zacharison's cheat sheet, looked at the values there, and I was like, all right, so they're not that far off in value. So I decided because of the tight end premium nature that I should boost up Colston Loveland. I ran it by JJ, and he said he was fine with it. didn't take issue with the pick. So
probably just didn't care. He's like, why the hell are you messaging me?
Well, it was his team, by the way. That's why, because I was taking over his team in this dynasty league. Yeah. So we knew that.
I mean, Loveland is my rookie 107 straight up. It is a tier for me from like 107 to 111 pretty solidly. In practice, I've traded out of a lot of my 107s and just kind of taken whatever was available at 110 or 111 in most of my dynasty leagues. But yeah, I think if I'm sticking at 107, Loveland is going to usually be my pick.
Do we like Romeo Doubs here? Or Wan'Dale Robinson, Adam Thielen?
I like Doubs and Thielen.
Yeah, I'd go Doubs here for sure. I kind of my only take on the Packers this year is I think they're going to throw more. Like, they were bottom 3 in pass rate over expectation last year, but in the 5 games before Jordan Love hurt his groin, like in the middle of the season that he actually started, he was top 5 in pass attempts per game. Like, and we've heard Matt LaFleur say the same exact thing too this offseason. Like, all of that was fake last year. Like Love was completely banged up the entire time. Like I just don't think that this is going to be like the beat teams down with Josh Jacobs offense again. And that just in best ball, it mostly only matters just because all these Packers receivers are so cheap.
And it's not just a normal quarterback that comes in and tempers the pass rate. It's Malik Willis who like craters the pass rate. Like it's an entirely different offense. You have to suddenly start catering to.
Yeah. Which for a while last year, I was saying like, oh, we're going to get Jaden Reed back. Like it was just a Malik Willis thing where he dipped and then he didn't really come back to the full extent I expected him to after such a hot start last year. But I still kind of think that it could happen where he just like comes back and looks like he looked like such a smash pick at the beginning of the season last year. I think it's within the range of outcomes at least.
Yeah, no, I mean, to that same point, in that 5-game split before Love's groin injury, Reed was at like 18 fantasy points per game. That was right when the pass volume started dropping off and his production started dropping off. So yeah, with Reed, you always need him to be efficient and like outperform the targets he earns, and
do we like
he always has. So yeah,
Wanda Robinson, Mason Taylor. Sorry,
go Wandale.
I'll go Wandale on this team.
Okay.
Is this going to be a 3 quarterback, 3 tight end? What are we thinking here?
Yeah, I think so. I think 3 quarterback, 3 tight end.
Okay, so yeah, Wandale, and is Jackson Dart still out there? We're just going to keep on tacking on Jackson Dart. Okay, just keep it on.
I wanted to just throw Mace Taylor out there because we have Justin Fields. Like, yeah, it would make sense for going with a 3rd tight end, throw him onto the stack, but also do not feel that strongly about it. So I feel, and Wandale works for getting Jackson Dart later.
If someone wants to use like one of their last tight end premium picks in rookie drafts, especially Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson, or Ronnie Gadsden, Harold Fannin, like fine, have at it. I've made terrible picks before, but like I am cutting off this like tight end premium talk of us drafting rookies. I personally am like Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland, and I'm not going to take anyone else. I'm not buying Mason Taylor hype. I don't want any of these other players. I do not care.
Don't you think, isn't it possible that Mason Taylor is just going to be like number 2 in targets this year, or no one? I guess the floor is pretty low.
Yeah. Very, very low floor, as it is with any rookie tight end.
Sure.
And of course, it's possible he emerges because there's really no competition there. But what does the second receiver in a Justin Fields offense look like in a run-heavy offense? And I think we get Garrett Wilson, and we're dragging Garrett Wilson there. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. I agree. I think this is a mistake that dynasty managers especially make often, which is when with a rookie that you maybe don't have that much information about, there's a temptation to overemphasize like the target competition and the landing spot and all of that. But I mean, not to say that Mason Taylor isn't a prospect that people like, but I mean, personally, I really like Terrence Ferguson a lot more, has a lot more athleticism. Harold Fannin at least has like the insane college production that you can ask questions about whether he actually fits as an NFL tight end. But there are just more things, at least for me, to grapple onto with these other prospects than Taylor specifically. Like I'll take the rest of them in round 3, but yeah, Taylor is probably the one I have the least interest in.
Yeah. Because I do love Harold Fannin as a prospect. It's just like he did not get the draft capital, and Njoku's on the last year of his deal, but it's still playing behind Njoku. It's a lot tougher to see the path there for him.
Do we? Is there somebody we like here better than Taylor as far as we're going to take tight end go?
Oh yeah, we're taking tight end.
We could go Jackson Dart and then do a tight end later.
Let's do Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's do Dart, and we can talk about tight ends. Super late tight ends. I do like Theo Johnson. I just said Terrence Ferguson's name. Don't want like Jacob Sanderson docked me into this one, which is like, let's not let Tyler Higbee be the reason we don't draft a player, please. So yeah, those are kind of my preferred super late tight end guys.
Okay.
All are bad, but attack all my bad guys too with as I talked about earlier, Jatavian Sanders, Theo Johnson, Jawan Johnson. Yeah, fine.
So we've got agreement on Theo. Theo would make sense.
I like Sanders.
Well, Theo, we have Jackson Dart. So.
Oh, you like JT Sanders too? Okay. Yeah, because we have Jackson Dart. Would that maybe break the tie for Theo Johnson?
Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah, I think the correlation always breaks the tie. That's the way I view it, anyways.
All right, we'll see if it gets here. Then we can maybe do one more wide receiver, probably.
Yeah, I think we would definitely want an 8th receiver on a build where we took none through 4 rounds.
Darius Slayton is a lot of fun.
Would we rather do Darius Slayton than Theo Johnson for this pick and then see if Theo comes back to us?
I would say I'd rather do Darius Slayton personally because, yes, all the tight ends Ryan mentioned, it's the same as Theo Johnson.
Yeah.
They're all the same guy.
Okay.
Whereas Darius Slayton, he was fun because he was either completely unusable or Malik Neighbors gets injured and Darius Slayton wins your week. And we usually don't have those kind of players at this range of the draft.
Yeah. All right. So let's go through the list again. So Theo Johnson, who else do we like here?
I guess you have to keep on storing Mason Taylor for the correlation, but again, we talked badly about him.
You were saying reasons. Terrence Ferguson, right? As the don't let Tyler Higbee get in the way. Yeah. What about you were mentioning what's his name on the Chargers?
Ronnie Gadsden. I mean,
Conklin,
it's
because he just signed a big deal.
Oh, Conklin, because he got $10 million guaranteed. Yeah.
Anybody else I should be storing here? I mean, is this good enough? This 3, is this our order?
I think this is good.
There's no way all 3 get taken. Nobody wants these guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I hope we get Theo Johnson, but I think I'm fine with any of these. I think this team works out okay. It's a little bit unique, a little bit of a unique build. What up, Chris?
Are y'all doing another draft after this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll definitely say if you like.
I'll definitely jump off for that one, but I'll get out of y'all's way. Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you were able to stay a little bit longer, especially with the awkward timing of these new drafts. I got to figure out how to do content with 20-second clock. It's the hours just doesn't work out exactly.
You'll grow into it. You'll get used to it.
Yeah. That's true.
As I always say on streams, do as I say, not as I do, because it's hard to get it all correctly with 20 seconds.
Yeah, it is. It's easier to like know what you want to do. And like, if you're drafting on your own, 20 seconds is plenty. Like you can just like, all right, think about it for a minute. These are the guys I want. You like think about it between picks. It's super easy, but then you're on the clock here and it's like, oh God, what do I do here? Especially when you're talking with other people too, because then you get like lost in the conversation. And it's like, are we on the clock? Oh shoot, we're on the clock, and I haven't thought about it at all. It's all right. Theo Johnson came back to us. Love it.
Hell yeah, that's fun. This is a fun team. Not necessarily strong wide receivers, but it's a good team.
Usable wide receivers. I guess I'll read it off now while the draft's still going. So we got Justin Fields, Michael Penix, and Jackson Dart at quarterback. Running backs, we have Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, and Omarion Hampton. Wide receivers, DK Metcalf, Jordan Addison, Khalil Shakir, Rashid Shaheed, Christian Kirk, Romeo Doubs, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton. Tight end, Colston Loveland, Kyle Pitts, and Theo Johnson. So we've got Jackson Dart mega stacked up. 3 stacking partners with Jackson Dart. We've got Penix with Kyle Pitts, and then we have naked Justin Fields. Overall,
as we should.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
That's a unique team I'm not used to drafting, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty formidable team that is totally different than my usual way of building. Ryan, you were not here for the original 4 picks. Is that something you would ever try to do again, or is that are you looking at this and saying you shouldn't draft 4 early running backs? Totally wrong. What do you think of the team?
Yeah, look, I mean, you can say whatever you want about the upside of the early running backs. Like, I hear all of those arguments, but yeah, then when we actually draft a team like that and we're having to make picks like Wan'Dale Robinson and Christian Kirk and Kyle Pitts, that it's giving me bad feelings in my stomach.
You're not loving the team.
Be totally honest. Yeah,
I'm glad. I'm happy for the honesty. See, some of the players you mentioned there are like some of the players that I like clicking, and I know you're a disciple of Scott Barrett, who hates Wan'Dale Robinson more than he's ever hated anybody on planet Earth. So you for
all the right reasons, by the way.
Yeah. But I'm more okay with it. I am of the argument that if you have a high floor, you also have a high ceiling. And I think Wan'Dale Robinson, if he just happens to score a touchdown in one of the weeks that he has 8 catches, is gonna hit a higher ceiling. Just hasn't really lined up quite so much yet. He scores touchdowns on the weeks when he has 2 catches for 14 yards, and then another week he'll have 8 catches for 60 yards and not score the touchdowns. So you never really see the ceiling. But I still think it's a possibility for him. So Scott and I have argued about this a fair amount. If you had not guessed that, so I don't hate him as much. But I do agree with you. It's not like it doesn't feel great, but I wouldn't be that shocked if this team actually ends up outperforming my expectations and being a competitive one. I think that we drafted right for the style that we drafted. Like for a team that drafted running backs in the first 4 rounds, I think that we drafted correctly in the way we went about the rest of the draft. I did feel like we kept on. So after those first 4, it felt like a lot of the, and actually after, I felt really good about DK Metcalf and Jordan Addison picks. It sort of felt like we didn't have a lot of the guys that I wanted to fall back to us coming back to us. So like we didn't have the possibility of Jaden Reed at pick 77. I don't know. It felt like other people were really hammering the wide receivers, which ended up hurting us a little bit, I thought.
Which happens on Underdog. Yes.
Yeah. But overall, feel mostly okay about that team. All right, Daigle, you are going to get out of here. Where can people? What you say you're working on an article about stacking? Is that coming out?
Oh yeah, just coming out for July. Just like my favorite best ball stacks right now, which Tyler Shough is unfortunately included in that article.
One of your favorites, really?
Come on, just terrible. I'm such a structural hound that I'm just playing the ADP game, unfortunately. But Patriots, Panthers, they're all mixed in. Just literally last round guys. No good stacks. I'm not talking about the Bengals where you can super stack them now from the first 2 picks. Only the bad stacks that you can get in the last few rounds. So, yeah, that article is going to be out later tonight. And then from there, it established a run. Silva unfortunately texted me, said, hey, we got to start team previews. So we'll probably have a couple up by max Monday. We're hoping for Friday. So because redraft and season-long season, it's time for all that stuff to begin. So just stay tuned to establish a run. And by the way, in your chat, the guy who says, my guy, John Daigle, if that is JSU from Run Pure Sports, that is my guy as well. We haven't seen each other. I still listen to their content because Steve Boynton, Draft Sheet, those guys are friends. I love those guys, JSU included. But shout out to JSU because him and I were part of the team that took down the Roto Grinders basketball pickup championship with Derek Farnsworth, Notorious, and a few other of our teammates. We won that championship over Big T's team, by the way, in 2019. We have to go all the way back then. So shout out JSU. That's my guy, not the other way around.
Love that for both of you. JSU, we have a running bit where I keep saying I'm going to invite him onto the stream, and then I never do. But with DraftKings week coming next week, it'll be coming within the next 24 hours. Just so you know, so you can expect a DM from me very soon. I also want to just note that this really advanced burn from Terrence from T-Bear says I thought this was an Eliminator team. I mean, that's it's
a fourth level joke.
That hurts us. But a lot of people would be like, okay, that's fine. But no, that's it's a good burn. It's honestly
so for a DraftKings draft, Neil, just bring me back on, and JSU and I will draft a team together.
Oh, you want to come? Yeah, I mean, I would love that. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Invite me on again, of course. I'm around.
Oh,
I got nothing going on in life.
All right, well, I'll be in touch.
All right, later, boys. Right. Love you all.
Later, Daigle. Love you too.
See ya.
All right. I'm going to put the banner back up, or put the let's see here, the overlay. Got to move. Oh wait, we are no longer. What did I do here? You should be. No, like.
Yeah, sorry about coming in early and messing up your entire StreamYard setup here.
It's because I just did not make. I have a 3-person one, but it's like misaligned and it bothers me. So I just get rid of the whole thing when I have 3 people on. But I figured we would. I didn't have the time to make it today.
Yeah.
You did not come in early. You came on right on time. It's just we decided to do a second draft.
Yeah. No, I have never personally had to deal with the back end of StreamYard just because at Fantasy Points we have Thomas Tiffel, Trey Camberling, guys that producers figure it out for us, thank God, because I'm sure it wouldn't go well. But yeah, it is always the end of the world if you're like, hey, we actually want to have an extra guest on here an hour before the show. That is Thomas Tipple's DEFCON 11 if you send him that message. So
I will say
I imagine it's not easy.
No, it's super easy. It's not. Come on. They're exact. No, we did a UFL stream. So Jake and I did UFL streams together at Fantasy Points every week. And for the championship, we brought on now I'm forgetting his name, assistant coach actually no longer an assistant coach in the UFL.
AJ Smith.
AJ Smith. We brought AJ Smith in. So we brought AJ Smith in, but they had not anticipated me being on the stream, or they didn't realize we're going to have 3. And Trey drew something up in about 1 minute. Took him about 1 minute to make the overlay for a 3-person. So they know what they're doing over there at Fantasy Points behind the scenes. yeah, it's really not that difficult to run things in StreamYard. At least the way I do it is probably they're a little bit more advanced than I am. Anyway, let's get into another draft. You want to do another BBM?
Yeah, let's do a BBM or anything that's not like an eliminator or something with some weird
different
rules.
structure.
Yeah. Anything that's like a normal best ball tournament. Let's do it.
I am entering a 20-second best ball mania draft right now. 9 more to start. So if you want to get in, you have plenty of time to get into this draft with us. Perfect. All right. Yeah, no, those drafts are super fun, but not if you don't know the rules, then it's not going to be that fun. No, we're getting into BPM.
Yeah. We have so many different like fantasy formats that we have to be on top of all the rules for, and like the strategy and everything. For me, it's just like really another one. Like it's great for people that enjoy all these funky ones that Underdog puts out, but yeah, it's not for me. I'm at my maximum bandwidth of formats that I have to know what I'm doing in.
So honestly, it's my favorite new formats, because I think that like that's where my edge lies more than the like being super deep in the stats. So like I understand why you would not enjoy it as much, because you're just like deep into the player takes and on top of your stuff. But for someone like me, like I really love new formats, just new things that I can attack. So that's funny. I absolutely understand your perspective, but I'm all about getting into new contests all the time. Hang on, let me remove this. I am going to try a different window.
Yeah. No, I mean that totally makes a ton of sense. Yeah, if it were my focus, then yeah, I probably would be trying to be in all the weird formats as much as possible.
Yeah,
I'm sure
you're so busy like working on fantasy. Yeah. You're focused on fantasy football as like your main career is doing fantasy football analysis. So then you don't want to have to apply new rules to that fantasy football. Whereas me, it's like my career is kind of what I want it to be as far as like what I'm like doing content on, the types of games I play. So like it's just at this point, a lot of people know how to play best ball. But then I watch people post their eliminator teams. I'm like, they made pretty big errors a lot of the time, and I'm just like, people are making mistakes that I think are really hurting their edge or their odds of winning in those contests. So I love playing in them.
Maybe you should give me a tutorial then while we're on here. You can teach me to play eliminator or anything else on here.
Well, my eliminator tutorial is behind the paywall on this channel, so I don't want to
my bad.
But I'm happy to do it after the stream. You and I can talk to them. I'll probably throughout the summer I'll probably give everything that I'm thinking away anyway. Like I'm trying to keep some of it just like a little bit closer to the shelf, to the chest for the people that did sign up behind the paywall. Which, by the way, if anybody's interested, $5 a month for access to that video behind the paywall, or if you just want to show some support, if you want to sign up as a member, it is $5 a month. And if you just want to support the channel in a free way, you can just like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can hit the little notification button to get alerts when my shows go live. Neil says drafts in weird formats can also vary a lot more because people view them differently. I enjoy them. Yeah, exactly. Because people just play them quite differently. And I mean, I know Neil is super into weekly winners, which is just everybody's playing their own game in weekly winners. Like it really is totally different the way people play it.
Yeah. See, I only said that, Neil, so that you could plug your stuff there. That was the only
appreciate that. Yeah. No, the eliminator, I think people make like just actual mistakes with weekly winners. There's just so many different ways to play it that I think like you can play it right and still play it completely differently than somebody else in your draft. So it's kind of a fascinating one. But yeah, the eliminator, I think people just kind of screw up. And if you want to watch a video on this channel, I did. It's about a half hour long. I always try to do a little bit quicker, and it's just so hard to get through everything quicker than half an hour. Made a whole PowerPoint though, Ryan. All right, let's talk some dank stats. It's actually, I think, like maybe the first PowerPoint I've ever made. I am not a PowerPoint whiz. But it was pretty easy, pretty easy. I watched a tutorial on how to use PowerPoint. It was very simple. What are some of your dankest stats recently? Things that you've tweeted about.
Man.
Do you have any good ones for me?
Dankest stats that I've tweeted about. Let's see.
I know you have a lot. You tweet a lot of very, very dank stats.
I do my best. Yeah, they all do run together, but yeah, I can pull some out of my brain for you. So today we found out that apparently Tristan Wirfs is like the Bucs star left tackle is likely to start the season injured, possibly be on the PUP list.
Yep.
And that makes me think very differently about this Buccaneers offense. And mainly because Baker Mayfield is historically a QB that does not do that well against pressure. He does take a lot of sacks. Pressure to sack ratio, he was top 7 last year. Like the worst guys in that stat are like Will Levis and Caleb Williams. And then Baker's like kind of one tier below them in terms of anytime there's pressure, very likely he's taking a sack and going down. It didn't matter last year because the Bucs had one of the best pass protecting lines in the league. But with Wirfs missing at least part of the start of the season, compounding that with Liam Cohn being gone, yeah, it makes me pretty concerned about Baker. If they're going to not be like a top 3 team in terms of preventing pressure, then that's just so many more sacks. It's so many more pass attempts just taken out of the offense. And that matters for all of their skill players as well. So that was kind of like a big one that I've been thinking about recently. I gave you the one on Jordan Love and the Packers passing game that I think is super due to bounce back just with more volume this year in general. That's really big for Jayden Reed in particular. I do love that kind of nobody wants to draft Jayden Reed after he burned everybody after 4 weeks last year. It's been it's been fun to like be on an island. I like when I'm a little bit on an island with player takes rather than like Daigle was talking about, like, oh, everybody loves Drake May this year. Yeah, cool.
Right.
Like I'm gonna write him up and I'm gonna say to draft Drake May, but it's like there's no, it doesn't feel that earned. If Jayden Reed hits for me this year as like a post type guy, it will feel very earned.
I would say Drake May probably earned in like season long leagues, but not in the best ball streets. Because in best ball streets, everybody is hip to Drake May. But in season long, I'm guessing there are a lot of people who are like, he was fine last year. Like, don't quite see the vision yet. So maybe tweeting about him or writing about him for season long is a little bit more unique.
Yeah, I mean that is the thing too. I think he's going to be very trendy in season long as well.
Okay.
Especially
Really?
like as people. I think what kind of happens is all of us sickos that just play best ball in the summer because that's like what's around and what there is to play and talk about. As people like move their focus to season long, I think all of it trickles in eventually, or most of the takes do, at least
That's
with
probably
players
true.
like that. I think by like the end of August, Drake May is going to be, I don't know, he'll probably be like the QB 10 or something on on like ESPN or Sleeper or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean there's time to feel like you're unique on that for sure.
Ryan, if you didn't see, we have the 112 in this room. So let's start thinking about who do you like here at the 112. So you can see here's the top ranked on the left here.
I was gonna say I like Nico Ladd, but Nico's gone. Here I like Achane at any turn, honestly. And then a wide receiver. This is a tier for me, but my highest ranked would be Amon-Ra.
Okay. Do you want to go somewhere else just to get like a different, like Drake London to get a more unique combo, or would you just want to go with your highest ranked? I'm good with
we can do London. I mean, I love London a ton too. So it works for me. Let's do something different.
Yeah, just thinking. This is something that I've been playing with the DraftKings data because DraftKings released. I don't know if you saw this, Ryan, but DraftKings released all of their drafts through June 27th in their Millie Maker contests. So you can kind of play around with the data and look at different combos and like how owned everything is. And I've been talking about it with my friend Adam Scherer, and that's one that he sent me, is that one is pretty low owned so far in that contest, which it's like on the one hand, and this is what I told him, is like, that's really interesting that like, it's like nobody, like very few teams have Devin Achane and Drake London. Really interesting, and also not that surprising because neither of them like is a player that a lot of people are pulling up to the first round, and you're not getting them both in the second and third round. So just like that combo is much rarer than if we took Amon-Ra there. So kind of fun playing with those kind of stats.
Definitely, yeah. My kind of original version of that was just doing Nico Ladd kind of, and I think people come on to that one a little bit more, just with how Lad's ADP has come up. But yeah, right when like the schedule released, that was kind of my instant. Like I want to start pulling Lad up to the 1-2 turn, because I mean the projections support it and everything too. It's not like he doesn't deserve to be selected in that range. So yeah, that was my original go-to.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's a good call. Who says the elite tight end and quarterback debates in Eliminator are intense. I don't have a particularly. I stated my kind of lukewarm opinion on elite tight ends and quarterbacks in the Eliminator in my video, but admittedly, I have not come to a strong conclusion there. I think that you can make strong Eliminator teams with elite quarterback. I actually think you can with elite tight end also, but also not what I'm doing every time. So yeah, it's an interesting one that some people have really strong opinions on. I don't know that the Sims necessarily show anything definitive there. Who says I am. They are both okay, but no, yeah, exactly my thought. BTJ and JT, another fun one. That is it. I've never pulled JT all the way up to the 1-2 turn. That's interesting. Maybe it's a player take thing. I'm not as high on JT, which may just be like boring. Like I'm bored of him. Like he's just like he goes around here every year, and it feels. And then he of course did really well last year in some important weeks. So maybe I should be higher on JT than I am. Yeah. Where are you at on Jonathan Taylor?
I'm with you. I think he should be going like on the 2-3 turn pretty much. I don't even take him there that often, just with how I'm usually building teams at that point. But yeah, it matters that Richardson is not going to be the week 1 starter, or potentially going to start at all. We did see Taylor slightly more involved in the passing game in all the Flacco games last year. Daniel Jones, also a quarterback that has historically has fed like Saquon Barkley, for example, in the passing game somewhat. So it helps a little, but yeah, I'm not huge on JT either.
Who do you like here? Lamar is here, or we could go Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Marion Hampton, Ted McMillan.
Yeah, I've been clicking Evans here mostly, but yeah, I think elite QBs make sense. I think Tet is great here as well too. But
do you prefer Tet or Lamar?
I'm
good with either.
Let's go Tet.
Right. Love it. I'm gonna have to maybe I'll enlist your services in making some decisions for my dynasty team. Not right now. I don't want this to be public, because I got a lot of sharks in my league who are gonna probably listen for, did Neil do any dynasty content? Can I figure out who he wants in this team? I think just straight up asking me like, oh, so Neil, who do you like? With your pick, I have the 5th pick in my. It's actually not dynasty. It's unlimited keeper, but I have the 5th pick in the unlimited keeper league, which is not just a rookie draft, because it's also among players that we dropped. But it's tough to know how to rank these players for dynasty. So maybe I'll try to pick your brain a little bit. But I will say one player that we are hotly debating is, and it's sort of hard to talk about here because I can't remember every player that's available, because it's like I know Bucky Irving is available, is one of the top. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, all available in this league. We were talking about whether Travis Hunter is a top 10 pick in this unlimited keeper league. How do you feel about? So I'll just ask you more generally. How do you feel about Travis Hunter as a dynasty pick this year?
Yeah, I mean, I like Hunter. I've kind of the entire offseason have had Hunter, Tet, and Hampton like pretty tightly in a tier. I would say I'm like fairly high on all 3 of them. Obviously, you can only pick one of them in like a normal rookie draft if you have the 102 through 104. I have had them ranked Tet, Hampton, Hunter. So that's how I mostly feel about them. I think Hunter can be a close enough to a full-time wide receiver with like the defensive packages to where he's a useful fantasy player. I think there's also a lot of outcomes where if he is as good of a wide receiver as some people seem to believe, not necessarily me, but a lot of people seem to believe, that he will just end up playing offense full time and that defense like won't get in the way of it if he's just with an offensive head coach, with how good and creative I think the Jaguars offense is going to be this year, like we can totally be looking up in week 6 and being like, okay, yeah, like Hunter's playing like third downs on defense, but this is clearly like just he's part of a high octane offense. So I like him. I like Tet more. I think Tet was a better like pure wide receiver prospect, and I think Hampton is just like a very generally low risk pick right now too. So I like give the slight edge to both of them. But I think Hunter's totally like a totally viable pick. I would rather have Hunter than Marvin Harrison, for example.
What about Hunter versus Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice?
I definitely take Hunter over Worthy. I would take Rice over Hunter at
Interesting.
this point.
Interesting.
Yeah, but Rice is like very close kind of in there with me. Like I'm like 50-50 on like Rice versus Hampton. I got asked that on Dynasty Points last night.
We're on the clock now. So we have 1 running back, 3 wide receivers: Treveyon Henderson, Romeo Doubs, Jordan Addison, RJ Harvey.
I like Harvey here. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we get Harvey there, and then we have 1 more pick. Do you like Treveyon Henderson, Romeo Doubs, anybody else here? I'll sort by ADP. This is ADP list.
I'm pretty okay with Odunze, I suppose. I'm not a huge Odunze guy, but do it. Just
Nobody
do
else
it
you
for
like better.
Yeah,
Something different.
Exactly something different. Yeah, I've been just clicking Addison a lot in this round, and I should probably not do it as much if the suspension's not priced in, as we were talking about earlier. So yeah, switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, I've also taken a ton of Jordan Addison there. I also think it depends on like how long the suspension is. Like I think if it's 4 games, he will drop a little bit more. If it's 3 games, I'm not sure that he will. I don't know. Like I think there's a little bit of nuance to how long the suspension is there for Addison. All right, I'm just going to ask you because none of my league mates are probably actually in the draft. So let me read off some names. This is gonna be tough for you probably because it's first of all, it's unlimited keeper, it's not dynasty, and also it's not just rookies because of that. So this might be difficult for you. But here is the top players. And actually,
unlimited keeper means like you can keep them forever, but the cost is like never different or anything. It's not like you have a higher pick that you have to give up to keep them or anything. Okay.
Yeah. So like so this year I cut my team down to just 1 player. I cut it down. I have only CeeDee Lamb, which means my first pick is in the 2nd round. So like, and then where I actually pick in the draft depends on who else cut down. Did other people cut down to fewer than 1 players? And then I got 2nd in this league last year, so I pick 2nd to last in the rounds that I have picks. So two teams in my league cut all the way down. So I have my first pick is the 3rd pick in the 2nd round because both those teams have first round picks and 2nd round picks ahead of mine, and then I have the 5th pick in this draft with CeeDee Lamb. But yeah, every year you can just decide I want to keep this number of players, and if you keep 0 players and you have a pick in the 1st round, and you have to kind of depending on where you're drafting, you might be the 1st pick or you might be the 12th pick if everybody cuts down, which would never happen. But you get the idea of like it depends on what everybody else does where you pick.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And it kind of breaks my brain a little bit, but yeah, I think like just basic vague dynasty value should mostly apply.
I think mostly
your only decision is like, am I throwing him back for a better, if I think there's a better pick available, which that should equally apply to like all players if at the end of the season or whatever. So yeah, I'll try not to think about that part too much.
Yeah, it's like it is, I think, a little bit different, but also like I think general dynasty values are probably pretty applicable. All right, so here are some of the top players available. So it's Ashton Genty, obviously, all the rookies. So Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, Devin Achane, Bucky Irving, T. Higgins. Let's see. Let me go to my queue actually, so I can see the actual best dynasty values. Yeah, so I think generally I'm expecting the top 3 picks to be Ashton Genty, Devin Achane, and Omarion Hampton. But it sounds to me like you might not actually have Omarion Hampton ahead of Tet. So maybe I should be happy. But then, so because I have the 5th pick, I'm expecting those 3 to be gone: Ashton Jeanty, Devin Achane, Omarion Hampton. And then we have Tet McMillan, Xavier Worthy, Travis Hunter, obviously all the rookies, T. Higgins. I think it basically comes down to the rookies and Xavier Worthy or Rashid Rice. Oh, we are on the clock. So sorry, let's.
Okay, yeah, can talk about that in a minute. Let's see. I like Downs. Yeah, I love Downs. Can never go wrong there. What do we have for receivers? Just thinking about lining up stacks.
We have Drake London, Mike Evans, Tet McMillan, and Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, I mean, no, I just got done shitting on Baker, so maybe we don't want to do the Baker stack. We could though. Yeah, just like.
Do you like Aaron Jones?
Not really, but Igbuka's fine. He's fine. They're both fine.
Okay.
Guess we'll do a Baker stack after we got. Yeah, guess we'll do the Buck stack after I made fun of Baker. That's fine.
We're probably not going to get Baker back to us. We're just going to have. Oh, we might actually. We might get. No. Yeah, this is not going to line up for us well at all. That's okay. We've got the core to the stack. Just not. Sadly, we don't have the quarterback. Trying to think what we are going to do.
I've had Baker get pushed around before. If you have both Evans and Ibuka, because I think I think a lot of people are kind of like, this was like a insane touchdown rate last year. Is it gonna it's one of the worst bets you can usually make is for that to sustain. So but I've been happy to take him when he falls around like that, just because of the upside. I would happily take him there. Weeks 15 to 17. Yeah. Okay, but going back to your dynasty values.
Yeah. So so it's all the rookies, and then basically, I guess I'm mostly outside of the rookies. It would be Achane, Worthy, Rashid Rice, T. Higgins, and Bucky Irving. I think it's kind of the group of players that maybe would work in there as considerations for my 5th overall pick.
Okay, yeah. So I would have Tet the highest, I think, of the guys you've said. Or no, you said Rashid Rice as well, right?
Rashid Rice is in there, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think Rice would be, It would be Tet, then Rice, Tet, then Rice, then, these are like all very close, kind of, that you can look positionally, but I generally prefer positionally, like being attached to wide receivers, especially you said like CeeDee Lamb is the only player on your team right now, right? So that I should be thinking about like as if I'm like building a team just from a startup. So I would then rank it like Tet, Rice, Hunter, Achane, Bucky, or Achane, Higgins, Bucky.
Okay,
I think.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, I think I tend to in this league, and I think it would be even more so in Dynasty. Maybe not. I don't know, but I value wide receivers a little bit more for the longevity of their careers. Like if I'm getting them earlier, and it sounds like maybe you do also.
Yeah, generally, it's just much, especially I think of this almost as like a startup. I don't like drafting running backs early in startups just because running back values are just very easy to collapse with a single injury.
Yeah.
So it's just, I like establishing the core of the receiver value that's more stable first. And then if I'm a contender, like halfway into the year, then that's when I will want to add like the big boy running backs.
Yeah. You're lagging for me here and there a little bit, and at this point I'm wondering if it's just me, because my internet appears to be unstable right now, so I think it might be just on my end, and I have not heard anybody else say anything, so that is unfortunate. We are almost on the clock here, and we're at pick 108. It looks like we did not get Baker to fall back to us. Oh, we are on the clock now. Rashid Shaheed is here again.
He is, yeah. I wouldn't mind him here, and then we can kind of.
Jaden, do you like Jaden Higgins or Trey Harris at all either?
I've been taking Shaheed over the two of them.
Okay, all right, let's go Shaheed. Do you want to go with a Drake May? We could build a back sack with the Patriots. Cam Scadaboo. Anybody else you like here?
Yeah, let's go May. I think we start at quarterback for sure.
All right, there we go. We've got, so I'll read off the team. We have Drake May at quarterback. At running back, we have Devin Achane and RJ Harvey. Wide receivers, we have Drake London, Mike Evans, Tet McMillan, Romo Dunze, Josh Downs, Mika Guka, and Rashid Shaheed. So we are out of the Baker game. We do have a fair number of backstack options here, though.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I do think we can basically be done at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Here,
yep.
I would say. So, yeah, I like the May, Hunter Henry backstack stuff. This can definitely be like a 3 tight end build.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can fill some guys in here.
Okay, Best Ball on Call says your video is fine. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my internet seems okay now. I don't know why it was unstable for a little while, but it seems like it has stable. So yeah, it seems like it was just on my end. That's good to know that he's not.
You've had like a couple little like small like cutouts with your audio, but it's been like I've been able to understand you fine. So I think you're all good.
Nice. Yeah, I don't normally have big issues with the internet, but yeah, for some reason today, maybe I just need to unplug it and plug it back in. But I'll wait till after the stream. I thought it was Daigle's internet, but no, it seems it was probably me. Anyway, I think we're mostly good here. Yeah, so it's where do we want to push Hunter Henry to? What is his ADP 164? So we can probably push him past the next round and take him. Yeah, just a slight reach there. That would work out.
Yeah, works for me. Yeah, we probably need to start adding some running backs here. Jacob Sanderson has scolded me about how my best ball drafting issue is that I don't draft enough running backs, and that I am too often just trying to fill the wide receiver spots when the running back projections are usually about equivalent to the receivers, and that I should be looking to fill the flex with a running back. So we should probably take a pair of running backs after this is the lesson here. But yeah, I think we may have missed the tier.
We may have, I guess we could have considered Cam Scadaboo there instead of these 20-second clocks, man. I didn't even present the Cam Scadaboo option to you until we'd already taken Rashid Shaheed. This is getting thrown off a little bit, but I think we can still find some good running back values. Maybe we'll get a Rachaad White to come to us, something like that at the next turn. We only have one quarterback, so we need to be focused on both running backs and quarterbacks, I think, at this end of the draft. And actually the next one we can. So I think those are and tight ends, I guess. So we're done at wide receiver. If we happen to have a good tight end fall to us at 132, we could consider that. Otherwise, I think probably we're looking at quarterbacks and running backs here. But I think we'll have some decent options there. Do you like any of the Dallas running backs?
Not really. My answer all season has just kind of been like, I don't care. And I was right on that last year too, until Dak got hurt and Zeke missed a meeting and they decided we're not going to try to win games and we're just going to feed Rico Dowdle for the culture or whatever. And even then I didn't feel like I missed out that much on the Dallas backfield. I didn't feel like I was that hurt by it. So yeah. I'm kind of a shrug on them. I'm taking some blue. Like this is a team where it would make sense to take like a Jaden Blue, I think. But yeah, I'm not too crazy about the backfield. I do like Tootin. That is a pick I would love to make here.
Right, you gotta wait till we're on the clock. What are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were close for some reason.
No, we are. We're like 5 seconds away.
Oh, you mean because we're gonna get.
Yeah, I'm saying this guy's about to snipe us. No, he didn't though. He did not. All right, it worked out. We got away with it. We got away with it this time. All right, so we're gonna take Tootin. I'm gonna leave him in the queue while we think about our next pick. Do you want to go? I mean, Justin Herbert's still there. We don't have anybody paired with him. Michael Penix. We do have Drake May if we want to go there. Rachaad White there also. Any other?
Is Bryce Young gone?
He's probably going to be available to us in the next round.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we could push Young to next round maybe and take Loveland here.
Yeah. Then we could see if one of Young will be in a little bit of pain if both Young and Penix go. But do we have other? I mean, we've got Indy, so we could go Daniel Jones. We've got the Tyler Shough, just break glass in case of emergency situation. And then we can always like do a Geno backstack with Dante Thornton or something. So I think we're okay. I think we're in an okay spot, especially with Justin Herbert still there and Tua still there. Like these are quarterbacks that other people are probably gonna want for their stacks. So we'll probably make it have an okay pick at our next turn. But we're in, a little bit of a precarious situation here with just one quarterback who is completely unstacked.
Probably didn't need that Rashid Shaheed in hindsight. That was probably an unnecessary pick, but
that's on me. I presented him as an option and did not give you the non-wide receiver options. Then after I picked, I was like, oh, we already have 6. So it was just so used to it.
I forgot we'd taken like downs. Yeah, I was just not locked in there.
Yeah. Best ball. Yeah, we can always. What do you think of Cam Ward this year? I feel like I'm in on Cam Ward, and a lot of people are just like don't talk about him, which makes me think they're probably not super high on Cam Ward. But it's at least like an easy back sack to do that I think seems to me like has some potential. What do you think of Cam Ward?
My favorite way to do Cam Ward is just to take him on Tony Pollard teams. Because Pollard had like such wide like win versus loss splits last year, which makes sense for most running backs that aren't like hyper involved in the passing game, right? So I kind of see Tony Pollard as like a bet on the Titans offense succeeding. And I mean, the way to continue to benefit from that bet is Cam Ward.
That's interesting. I like that. I've not really, because they don't like correlate in the direct way of like quarterback to pass catcher, like where it's like in single games they're going to hit together frequently because they're like scoring touchdowns together, but they can hit, for season long they're very correlated, like you're saying, because Tony Pollard likely to do well if Cam Ward does well. Yeah, I like that. Jack Mitchell asks, what are your guys' favorite round 1-2 starts this year? What do you think?
My highest like round 1 exposure is probably going to end up being Puka Nacua. I have him as just like as a top 5 pick. I think his ADP is still at like 7 or so, right? So I've been pretty aggressive on him. And then like I don't know, the ideal in round 2 is like Achane falls, but that's happening less and less recently. I'm trying to think of like my actual favorite combo, like at any point where I'm selecting. It'd probably be getting like Puka at 7 plus, like any round 2 running back to fall, not Bucky. So like, an Achane, a Henry, whatever there, and then just following it up with Adams in round 3 is kind of my favorite start.
Okay. It's, I don't know that I have like, it's tough because I'm like, well, my favorite starts are if I can get like Justin Jefferson and you get Brock Bowers to fall, but like that's obviously like, okay, if you get a faller, but like that doesn't really, I think, count as far as the question goes. So then it would probably be, I mean, I do kind of like, I'm kind of a Brock Bowers bull this year. Although I thought Daigle made a great point about the number 2 and 3 tight ends being so good that like you can make them a little bit less valuable in that sense. But I do kind of like Neighbors and Brock Bowers for the week 17 correlation. I think that's one of my favorites. All right, we got Penix here. So that was kind of the hope. So now we can decide though between Penix and is Bryce Young still there, and then Hunter Henry. So which 2 of these 3 would you think you'd do?
Man. I would go Young and we went Penix, so it's fine. Penix and Henry.
Penix was the ADP faller.
That 20-second clock there. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, now we got another one. Now which one? Fine. Do you want to go Bryce
now
Young
we
also?
Go Henry, I think. I think we go Henry. Yeah.
Just to get the stack. Okay.
Yep.
So you're higher on Bryce Young than Penix?
I am, yeah. I mean, Young at least showed fun little dank stat. Bryce Young led the NFL in scrambling fantasy points per game last year. Now that's because he happened to score like 6 touchdowns on scrambles, which is probably not going to happen again, but that's at least in his arsenal, which is nice given that there just aren't a whole lot of weapons there. Anytime that a play breaks down, if that's not open, then having Young take off occasionally is kind of nice there. But no, I mean, I like Penix as well. What we saw from him in a small sample was really good, but I think I'm more excited about like the weapons for Penix just because He's very clearly like not a check it down quarterback. He kind of, his specialties are like, I'm not going to get sacked and I'm just going to throw it down the field as much as possible. Yeah. Part of why I'm so bullish on Drake London this year. So yeah, that's kind of how I view them. But yeah, I would actually give the edge to Young, which I know is not consensus.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, I would have been totally open to Bryce. It sounded like Daigle also was high on Young for the same reason, just the added rushing upside, fantasy points. So would have been happy to get him there. But at least we got kind of a nice ADP value there on Michael Penix. So like if you're not super high on him, good to get him when he falls 11 picks past ADP or whatever he is. And like you said, it's pretty correlated with Drake London, and we have Drake London, so like it's kind of a correlated bet on those two. So ultimately, I think I'm fine. I like the way that turn went, I think.
Yeah, no, it definitely works. Yeah, and now we just got to draft some running backs. I think it's where
let me read off the teams
that we hope win,
because you're right, we're a little bit behind. So we have Drake May and Michael Penix at quarterback. At running back, we have Devin Achane, RJ Harvey, and Bashal Tutin. So we're relying on a couple rookies there. We did get a first round running back, so not too far behind. Then we have wide receiver Drake London, Mike Evans, Ted McMillan, Romo Dunze, Josh Downs, Emeka Egbuka, Rashid Shaheed, and at tight end, Colston Loveland and Hunter Henry. So we probably need one more tight end, one more running back, and one more quarterback, maybe. Oh, and we have 4 more. So 2 more running backs. Sorry, and yeah, at least we need at least 2 more running backs. We might need 3 more running backs. Could be done at tight end, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Loveland Henry is like kind of the edge of what I'm willing to do to tight end for. Like ideally you'd take like a last round tight end, but yeah, we can kind of see how the running back values play out. I do like Shipley here. Yeah, we're just in handcuff land right now. Like I think Shipley and Giddens are both totally defensible picks here.
Dylan Sampson, another option. Which who are your favorites here? Shipley and Giddens?
Yeah, definitely Shipley and Giddens over Sampson.
Yeah. All right, so we're up to 5 running backs, and now I think we're in a position where we can kind of play the value game. We have 2 picks left. I think we probably want a quarterback. We don't need to force it, but like probably if Shough or Dimes is available to us, we probably want one.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, one of the 2 of them, and then we can go off vibes on the last tight end or running back. Probably a tight end, honestly. Like, yeah, I don't know. I look at that running back group, and I feel like I'm okay with I'm just higher on Tutin than like everybody. I've been fighting that battle like all summer. Yeah. Like, yeah, I can't. I'm not an ETN guy. I think Tutin is probably at least playable for a good chunk of the year, but I can see why people would look at that running back room and get scared off by it.
Yeah, no, I can also see why, but I think it's because we have Achane as the anchor, like makes me feel a lot better about it. And RJ Harvey maybe doesn't start the year as the starter, but I think he by the end of the year could really take over most of that workload. I don't know. I think it's all right. I'm happy with it. Happy with the team so far.
I did want to say something about you because you were talking about like Bowers versus McBride, putting it off to Kittle. I did write a very long article about just about elite tight ends basically and what we're doing with them, both in managed but also in best ball. And my kind of biggest issue with Bowers in best ball specifically. And this would also apply to McBride with how expensive they still are, is it is virtually impossible to find wide receivers after the first like 3 rounds that are going to give you multiple playoff spike weeks. At least based on the last 4 years, there have been like 8 wide receivers that have given you like multiple playoff spike weeks in a season. 5 of them were in the first 3 rounds and like 2 others were rookies. And then it was like randomly Jamison Williams last year, but doing the same thing at tight end, it's all like mid to late round guys. Like it's like Mark Andrews when he was going in the middle rounds, David Njoku that one year. and guys whose names I can't even remember right now because they were random late round picks that just give you like these 90th plus percentile performances. It's because tight ends, all you really need for that is 2 touchdowns. Now you're having one of the best tight end performances possible. Wide receivers it's just a higher bar. It's a higher standard in the flex. Like you have to have a lot of target volume and you have to hit touchdowns on those weeks generally. So yeah, to me, just in best ball specifically, the opportunity cost of an early tight end is just almost never worth it compared to a wide receiver that you could draft instead of them that in many cases are projected to score more points than them. So yeah, it's just I've been team no elite tight ends this year in best ball.
That's okay. Fair point. And I see the argument for not going elite tight end. I guess my counterpoint would be like, what if these tight ends are just outliers? Like what if Brock Bowers does just like continue, like, because that was his rookie year, and you know, rookie tight ends generally struggle. What if he takes a second year leap where he's even better than he was with the better quarterback? Hang on, let's make our picks and then continue, because it's a good conversation. It's an interesting thought. All right, we need one of these guys. Do you have a preference between Danny Dimes and Shough?
I like Danny Dimes a lot.
Good. And then we need probably a tight end.
Yeah, I think a tight end. Let's see here.
We have
any correlations that make sense?
I don't think so. Rams. Atlanta plays the Rams in week 17, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Let's go.
Higbee or Ferguson?
Ferguson. Yeah.
Where is Ferguson? I don't know where Ferguson is.
It's fine. we can take Noah Gray. It's fine.
Did Ferguson
not
go?
Too worked up about it?
He
may have. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he went in the 17th. Yep. Okay.
That is the worst feeling when you're like only half paying attention to a draft and you're like, I know I'm going to take this guy here, and there's 5 seconds left on the clock when you realize that he went. Yeah,
I just assumed that one of the tight ends would jump out to me as like, let's just do this guy, and then that did not happen. There were no tight ends that I was super excited about, so I was like, all right, let's try to correlate, and yeah. But I think Noah Gray is a fine. Like, he has some standalone value, like clear. Like, if anything happened to Travis Kelce, I think he has some upside there as well. So I'm cool with Noah Gray as an 18th round flyer.
Yep. You were saying that basically your argument would just be that what if Bowers is so amazing that he just transcends.
I'm just thinking like you're looking at like recent years, but like if you go to like Rob Gronkowski years, and I'm not saying that Brock Bowers is Rob Gronkowski, because he's probably not, but like he's probably going to be fed the ball quite a bit. He's like the focal point of that offense. So I still think that there is room for these guys to separate in a bigger way. I hear your point of like, for wide receivers, like you really need like 30 plus fantasy points from your wide receivers, and you're just not getting that after the early rounds. So I think it's a fair point. I'm just like, but if Brock Bowers were to, so you're saying like in recent seasons, it's been mid-round, like random, guys that go in the 12th round are the guys that have been spiking. But if it is if Brock Bowers and Trey McBride are kind of the new standard of like, maybe they just are like really do separate, or George Kittle, without Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I don't know. I think each season is just so unique that I'm like, I guess if I were confident that these guys can't separate from what tight ends have done in recent years, I would be like, yeah, let's just like avoid elite tight ends. But like I guess I have some expectation that Trey McBride and Brock Bowers are going to set a new standard at the position, which could be foolish. I fall for tight end hype quite a bit, pretty frequently. So there's a good chance I'm just wrong in attacking these guys. But what do you think? Is it possible that these guys just like truly do separate and like just set a new standard this year where, yeah, maybe they are like the guys that are going to put up 25 points, and after the elite, the next best puts up 12, and like they do separate in a big way?
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you obviously. And we have in recent history, since like Travis Kelce's 2022, which in underdog terms, I think was like 15 and a half fantasy points per game or something like that. Yeah, we just haven't had like a great season out of a tight end since then. My data that I looked at was back through 2021, so it included like a couple of really good Pete Kelsey seasons, and Gronk's last season, which was incredible. He was like, I think Gronk went over like 15 underdog points in like half of his games that year, or something ridiculous like that. Which is just like, but that like almost drives it home more to me when I look at like Gronk 50% spike rate, Bowers, McBride like 21% or whatever. And I'm just like, this isn't like, there has to be, we're drafting him like there has to be this big leap basically for it to make sense. And I think with Bowers and McBride's offenses, taking that into account is like what really seals it for me, I think, because like all those Kelsey seasons, the Gronk season, it's like, that was with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Like I think Geno Smith's good. I don't think Kyler Murray's that good, but like I don't think either of these offenses are going to be like the pass heavy behemoths that we would need for them to go nuclear. Like I think Bowers is an amazing player. I think he is the next Travis Kelce in like a real life NFL sense, for sure. But yeah, I'm just not that bullish on the Raiders offense is kind of what it comes down to for me.
That's pretty fair. Do you do rankings for best ball? Like are your rankings on the Fantasy Point site?
I don't do them like individually. Okay. I have like some input with Graham and Chris Wecht are like the primary drivers of our best ball rankings. So yeah, I'll kind of consult with them on those, but I'm just curious, like where do you rank the elite tight ends? Because you're clearly not like ahead of market on them, but are you like at the 2-3 turn? Like if Brock Bowers is there at the 2-3 turn, like is that like, all right, now I'm in? So I am clicking Bowers at the 2-3 turn, and that it has not happened to me yet that Bowers has fallen to the 2-3 turn. But yes, I in fact I said today that after the Wirfs stuff, I will probably take Bowers as early as like the 2-10, like over a Bucky Irving at this point is kind of where I'm at now. And I mean Bowers still, at least to us, projects worse than like a T Higgins or other comparable guys there on the 2-3 turn. But at that point, that's kind of where I'm like, all right, I will close my eyes and believe in like the Bowers to Travis Kelce ascension chance. Basically, that's where I start being okay giving it up when I don't have to draft him over like Ladd or AJ Brown.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Glad to hear that, because it's not that far off from where people are. You just have him a little bit later than where a lot of people have him in their rankings this year. It's an interesting discussion there. All right, let me read off the team, Ryan. So we have at quarterback Drake May, Michael Penix, and Daniel Jones. Running backs, we have Devin Achane, RJ Harvey, Bashal Tootin, Will Shipley, and DJ Giddens. Wide receiver Drake London, Mike Evans, Ted McMillan, Romo Dunze, Josh Downs, Emeka Egbuka, Rashid Shaheed, and a tight end Colston Loveland, Hunter Henry, and Noah Gray. I think I'm okay with it. I think we did kind of screw the pooch by taking Rashid Shaheed here as our 7th wide receiver. I think that could have been better used elsewhere.
Definitely should have taken a running back over either like Shaheed or Egbuka. But I was just asleep at the wheel there.
These 20-second clocks, we're adjusting. We're a little bit not even rusty because it's our first time trying to stream with 20-second clocks. But we'll get there over time. But ultimately, I still think we landed the plane okay. Like it's not a terrible team. It's probably a B minus, but like it's structurally sound. We pay attention to bye weeks. We stacked up our quarterbacks. So overall, I think it's a fine team. What do you think?
No, it's not like the worst team I've drafted, but not the best.
All right. Fair. Well, do you want to do one more?
Why not? Let's do it.
Okay, because we're going so fast now.
They fly with these 20-second clocks.
Yeah. 5 more to start. We just entered a 20-second BBM. If anybody wants to get in here, no worries about being late. Al Boogie, thanks for joining. As Billy says, Bowers has been dropping. Maybe it's you. Maybe you are the reason. Everybody's been wondering, why is Brock Bowers dropping? Maybe everybody's reading Ryan's stuff at Fantasy Points.
I literally, it is funny you say that, because I know this isn't the truth. I don't actually have like this level of reach or influence or anything, but when I was working on this article, I'm like, shit, I need to get this out as fast as I possibly can, because I was watching like in real time Bowers and McBride like starting to drop a little bit and more and more, and I'm like, oh, I'm having to like change the names that I'm using as examples in this article, like from when I started writing it. Like this is if I'm gonna get my point out and have like anything valid to say, I better do it quickly.
That's funny. I've been there before, where it's like this point is becoming less valid. I meant to put out a piece on why people should not draft early in the Eliminator. I was going to do a short on it like a month ago, and now it's like now it's getting close enough to when you can draft that it's just not even worth doing. So I get some content is pretty timely. We got the 103, so this is new for us. Who are your top three in order here?
It's basically Chase, Bijan, Jefferson is like my truth serum top three. So just like ignoring exposure and all that, but that's like that's how I'd rank the top three if I were.
That's like if you're only doing one draft. If you're only doing one draft, like that's your order. But like because you are doing hundreds, I don't know how many you're doing, but like a lot of drafts, then maybe you go a little bit closer to ADP. Although that's not far off from ADP anyway.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's like I think earlier in the year Bijan was going a bit later, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll get in the rooms where Saquon falls to 105 too, and I'll be like, okay, whatever. I'll take the free Saquon exposure. Yeah, I'm never like huge on like taking big stands in the first round. Maybe that's wrong, but that's just kind of
I'm the same
how
way.
I've drafted. Yeah.
That's me. I'll take your stands later. All right, so Bijan goes. So it's Jefferson. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, love it. Always happy to get a share of J-Jets as a Vikings fan. Feels good. Hopefully we can get our guy JJ McCarthy later. I like the start.
Yeah. Jefferson early is I usually like these builds, I will say.
Grapefruit. Oh, I see. Grapefruit says Bowers is Puka at tight end. He should be loved. I mean, I love him. Ryan doesn't love him. Ryan has no love. But Ryan has.
I want to be so clear. I love Bowers.
You hate Brock Bowers. Everybody.
I do. I agree with that take. He is Puka at tight end. Like this is the Max Deshaunu pill, as we call it. Like, yeah, Bowers and Puka and like kind of Drake London. They can kind of all just play like the same F position there. Like, yeah, it is. I agree. It's a little bit misleading to think of them in terms of like wide receiver and tight end, because Bowers is like the rare guy where he's essentially playing like a wide receiver position that has to kind of block sometimes. That's what he does. But even with that, even acknowledging that, I just have the concerns about the Raiders offense where they were top three in dropbacks last year. Like this was middle of the pack in catchable targets and catchable air yards. Like this was not as bad of an offensive environment last year as people are pretending it was. Like I don't. If the offense gets better, I think the volume goes down. Also, Bowers, more than any other player in the league, scored more fantasy points in garbage time last year. So if this is like the ball control Pete Carroll offense, where they're running it 25 times a game with Genty, then that's not going to happen most likely. I don't know. It's got to be. You need to hit perfectly. Like the defense continues to be total trash. Plus they become a very efficient offense and are still chasing points. Like, I don't know. It's very thin for me in the early second when I can be taking Devon HN, for God's sake.
How many times have you argued about this with Jacob Sanderson?
Oh, so many. Yeah. We like find ways. Yeah.
He's a bull on Brock Bowers. Yeah. Okay.
He is, yeah. We find agreement in Dynasty where it's like for some reason people don't want to click Bowers in tight end premium Dynasty over guys like CeeDee Lamb or Ashton Genty or whatever, and it's like this is just clearly wrong. Like Bowers should be a first round Dynasty pick, but we will always find a way to argue about best ball with Bowers. Yeah.
All right, so we are coming up. Our pick is coming up next. Top by ADP is Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, Rashid Rice, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point now with everything I just said bad about the Bucks and Bucky Irving, where I'll just like click Rice here and kind of look for Chase Brown in the third as like my start at running back is what I've been most comfortable with recently.
Sure, let's do it. I also like this question that was posed in chat. I guess Billy says, I guess the real conversation is how different is Bowers from McBride, and should McBride be just as high? How do you see Bowers versus McBride? Are they pretty close in your mind?
Yeah, they are pretty close in my mind in terms of like median projection. We actually projections aren't rankings, obviously, but we are just making sure we're going to get Chase Brown here or whatever before I get too deep into a point.
I assume you're Chase Brown over Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Chase Brown here. So rankings aren't projections, obviously, but from a median standpoint, we actually have McBride projected for more underdog fantasy points per game than Bowers. That said, the issue with McBride for me is that I think all the arguments you can make about Bowers just had the best rookie tight end season of all time. We don't want to put a ceiling on his upside, yada, yada, yada. All of that I like soft accept for Bowers. I don't accept that for McBride really at all. He's great in terms of commanding targets from Kyler Murray. He definitely does do that. Like best first read target share by a tight end in fantasy points data history. Really cool. But he's just never actually been an efficient player on like a yards per out run or a fantasy points per out run basis. So because of that, when you look back at like these amazing Travis Kelce seasons or whatever, it's always paired with he's scoring like 10 touchdowns or he's averaging like 2.5 yards per out run. I think the stat is that McBride has never been above like 0.37 or 0.4 fantasy points per out run, whereas like every good Travis Kelce season is like 0.45 approaching 0.5. Like it's just not, he's not like the dynamic explosive type of archetype of player.
Here's Billy's response. I want to respond to this. So and it goes back to they looked this up on like ADP chasing that like goes back to high school. Like he's just never scored touchdowns at any point in his career. Do you think that could correct itself at some point? Like could we see a 10 touchdown season from Trey McBride and suddenly is all is good, or what do you think about the touchdown angle, the touchdown progression?
So I mean, what I just said about we have him projected higher than Bowers, that is with like a completely normalized and average touchdown rate. So I have no issue just immediately conceding that, Trey McBride's probably going to score more touchdowns than he did last year. He was like 5 touchdowns below his expectation by our expected touchdown model. Like, you can certainly argue like he just doesn't score touchdowns. I don't really like to get to go there with players. I don't think we actually know that much about them. It's a really small sample size sport. Football is, so it's hard for me to be like, he'll never score touchdowns. But I think even conceding that, what I'm saying, it still applies that he's not the guy that's gonna take 180 yards to the house. And I mean, you can argue that is part of why maybe the touchdown scoring hasn't been there.
Yeah. All right, we are on the clock with the next pick. So we have Chase Brown, Justin Jefferson, Rashid Rice. All we have. We could add Xavier Worthy onto our Chief stack. DK Metcalf, James Cook, George Pickens, Devontae Smith. Who do you like here?
I don't mind Devontae Smith here or Cortland Sutton. Let's go to Smith.
All right. Jalen Hurts did go, so unfortunately we can't do the Smith and hope for Hurts to come back this time. But Smith just good in his own right, so that's pretty good. Do you have thoughts on who you'd like to come back to us here? So again, I'll sort by ADP.
Billy's comment is kind of in my way here, but I can just tell you the answer. Ken Walker is probably who I would like here. I've just been drafting so much Ken Walker in round 5. It's like round 5 is just where I'm generally getting my running backs, and it's usually Ken Walker. I mean, top 8 in expected fantasy points per game last year. Like, has the Clint Kubiak offense. He's been so efficient in the outside zone schemes his whole career. Like career high target share, all that. I just
over Xavier Worthy. Just want to make sure. Xavier Worthy. Okay, cool. There we go. We're at 2 running backs, 3 receivers. We have Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Justin Jefferson, Rashid Rice, and Devontae Smith. Yeah, feels like Kenneth Walker is one of those players that like people are just bored with. Also, just I don't know, because he's kind of a vet. I know Debro's super in on him also. So where do you have Kenneth Walker ranked? Like, where would you take him in the 4th round at all?
Oh yeah, I would chase him up into the 4th round. I think he should basically go like where Omarion Hampton goes, pretty much like after kind of the Tet McMillan, Mike Evans, like DJ Moore tier of wide receivers. I think that's kind of where Walker belongs, frankly.
You said your RB8 is where you have him. Is that I remember that?
RB8? I don't know. I thought I can't count off running backs in my head right now. I think I have him around like 11 or 12.
Oh, okay,
maybe.
Okay.
But yeah,
maybe I misheard whatever
like that
you said there. Okay, but still, that's higher than the market pretty clearly.
Oh yeah. I think I would take him. If I had to, I would draft him over Omarion Hampton. Is basically what.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing, again, going back to like, if you're just doing one draft, you're not like drafting in volume, just get your guys. He's one of those guys that is like a true your guy.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Nice. Yeah. I think this is a strong start, a little bit more balanced than I guess either of our past two, but especially the one that we did with Daigle, where we took 4 running backs to start, which you're blameless for that. You were not here for the 4 running back start. But yeah, we're off to a good balanced start here. We can kind of take what we like here. And we are not yet, I guess we could consider Patrick Mahomes at this next turn somewhere. But you can often get Mahomes to fall. So I'd probably be disinclined there.
Yeah, I'm not like, we can probably, I'd be okay taking him in the 7th. I think that's about ADP, right?
It's pick 75 and his ADP is 86, so it's not that far ahead of ADP, but I'm also not like super high on Mahomes where I feel like I need to get him. Maybe if you're higher on him than I am, then we can certainly take him in the 7th. But we can just see what is available.
Yeah, it'll mostly depend on what's available. I think it's kind of there is definitely like a tier here that's coming up soon where I throw my hands up and I'm like, whatever, I'll just take my quarterback. But
me too.
Yeah, this is let's see here. Nothing at running back. Not
here. I'll show you by position.
Honestly, we might be kind of close there, but yeah.
So these are the running backs. Okay.
I wouldn't mind Judkins here. I think Judkins has gotten cheap enough to where I'm just willing to start drafting him and say, like, the Browns running game wasn't actually that awful last year. The team obviously was, but I think Jerome Ford averaged over 5 yards per carry. Like, this could be a productive running game. I don't think they're going to be winning many games, but yeah, Judkins this late after Caleb Johnson is some pretty good value to me. And I've not been a Judkins guy at all for most of the offseason up to now.
Well, and it sounds like you are out on Dylan Sampson, so you're not hip to the Gretsch argument that like Dylan Sampson could just beat him out. Like, it's not like, wouldn't be that unheard of for Dylan Sampson to prove to be the better running back this season and maybe have some standalone value. That would be surprising to me. I think the bear case is like Sampson plus Ford and just kind of an amalgamation, like make sure that he's only a 2-down running back essentially on a bad team would be the downside case. But do you like, go ahead.
We can just take Mahomes, I think. I'm not crazy about anything here.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's not a good enough tier that I feel like I'm missing out on much by taking Mahomes there. So yeah, that works. All right. So you're just like, is that a talent thing? Like, you just don't believe in the Dylan Sampson talent, or what's the why are you out there? Okay, go ahead. I'm just never gonna believe in outside of like very specific guys. Like I guess Tootin would qualify this year. I'm just never basing a take around the talent of a day 3 running back. I just am. Usually in most spots, I'll be like, I probably am not going to correctly diagnose the talent of a day 3 running back, so I try not to. What do you think of the argument that I've heard streamers make, and I think it's a compelling one to me, that just like this is a different running back class than most. So like in a lot of running back classes, sure, don't bet on the RB, the day 3 running backs, but because this running back class is just like seems to be extremely deep. Like the general consensus is that this is extremely deep. So maybe teams are just kind of like letting running backs come to them because they're like, we have so many options. So going on day 3 doesn't necessarily mean that they viewed the running back specifically as a day 3 talent, but maybe they just thought, well, there's 8 running backs in this tier, and we can just wait and on the next pick and take them with a later pick. I think there's anything to the possibility that like this class is just a little bit different. So a day 3 running back is more likely to hit in this class than other running back classes.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like we were told so for months and months and months, this class is amazing. It's so deep. And then, draft day rolls around. And I think the second fewest number of running backs went on day 1 and 2 over the last like 7 years or something like that. It was not as many as expected. I think that argument works for like Cam Scatabo and Bashal Tutin and Jarquez Hunter, I believe, was also like a top of the 4th round kind of pick. Simpson wasn't that far off either, right? So like maybe, but like just like the further down we get, the less I put stock into that, I guess. So like the first few guys on day 3, yeah, sure. I don't think they're actually, and I've tweeted about this before, and the historical hit rates back me up that the super early day 3 guys are not that different than like the back half of round 3 guys, like a Caleb Johnson. We just, for whatever reason, there's a name for that fallacy, I think, but it's not. We just really separate out day 2 and 3 when we should think of it a little bit more fluidly at the edges of those probably.
Right.
So I'm down with that for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, Sampson's just kind of not where I'm taking that stand.
All right, fair enough. I draft him some because I'm like, just because like the depth chart the depth chart argument kind of makes sense to me of like, well, he's a rookie. The 2 players in front of him are Jerome Ford, who was not amazing, and another rookie. But I see your argument there. All right, so by ADP, we got Brandon Ayuk, Cooper Kupp, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Warren, Travis Etienne. Anybody you're liking here?
I do like Warren here. I'm kind of pissed that Downs just went, but let's take Warren and be like done at running back for a bit and then figure out receiver here.
Yeah, I was really hoping Downs is going to fall to us and be just the most obvious pick at pick 94. So that was sad. So you're not sounds like you're not very high on Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, who are 2 wide receivers that I've been targeting pretty heavily. You're just not that high on them, sounds like. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just think like the day 2 receivers are, especially in their rookie years, are just really easy to be total zeros, and I tend to shy away from that a little bit in best ball. I don't know. It might just be the format. Like I think they're both fine in Dynasty. I have them like ranked around where ADP is, but I don't know. I'm always more, especially around this range. Like I want to like lock in the points, but I mean, to be fair, there are not that many points to be locked in right now looking at this board, so I would not mind clicking Harris.
Well, what about Travis Kelce going to our
actually on a chief stack? Sure, why not? I'm
not super high on Kelce this year either. Like I don't draft a ton of him, but on a Mahomes stack where we don't have a quarterback, I think makes some sense.
Yeah, Kelce averages like 7 fantasy points per game when Rashid Rice is over a 50% snap share in his career.
Ooh.
Is like
don't love that.
Yeah, but we had a few seconds left and you had him queued, so I wasn't going to argue too hard. But and there's obviously there's ways that he squeaks out like one more tight end one season and in a chief stack, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, that's everyone else at Fantasy Points I think is fairly optimistic on Kelce, but I just
really
not. Okay. Like I think Graham likes him this year. I think Chris likes him, but yeah, I can't get there with those Rashid Rice splits.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems okay where he's going, just given his history. It's like, well, what if he doesn't fall off? But I'm like, just feels like he's already declined a little bit, and it just feels like it's gonna come, and it could happen really quickly here. And they could just like not play him a ton later in the season if have a great record, and they're just like, well, we're gonna make the playoffs. Like he's aging, they don't need to be running him too many routes. So I don't know. I'm more on your side of things, except for in game stacks where I'll throw him in there at ADP. But I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just like him and Rice just really played the same role. Going back to like our earlier conversation about like tight end versus wide receiver, tags on these players and eligibility. Yeah, they run a lot of the same routes and do a lot of the same things. So yeah, to me, if you're in on Rice, it's hard to be in on both.
Yeah, and so getting them. So would you avoid them on the same team like we did here? Because they're like Travis Kelce maybe is sort of contingent on injury to Rice. So like if you're playing like you're right, then I don't know.
Yeah, probably yeah. Honestly, on my ideal teams, but it's totally fine what we did. I didn't want to click Rashid Shaheed again, so
which we still might be able to. It looks like.
Yeah, they're gonna force us to.
And we do need some wide receivers. This is a gross range for wide. This is the downside to not taking a lot of wide receivers early. Like a lot of my drafts, I really hammer wide receivers early on, and this is the downside to not doing that. It's just like this range feels bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. Yeah,
but I mean,
like super hindsight, we could have gone like Jaden Reed over Mahomes, but then the build just looks so different. So whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if we get Rashid Shaheed here, I'm okay with that. I don't hate Christian Kirk either. I think Christian Kirk is a fine click here. We could also take one of our quarterbacks with one of these 2 picks, I think. All right, let's see.
Yeah, McCarthy here would be nice for sure. We definitely have to take a receiver, though.
Can I suggest Christian Kirk, and then we can have our option between McCarthy and CJ Stroud?
Let's do it. Can you explain Christian Kirk to me though? Like, I feel like I've put so little like brain power into Christian Kirk this year. Like, I'm kind of scared that Jalen Noel will just like beat him out eventually. So what is your like Christian Kirk Bulls case?
I think it's just that he plays the Tank Dell role. Like I think he's been a pretty good receiver throughout his career when he's healthy. So I think the hope is just that they he's just like, this rookie is not better than him, and he just plays the Tank Dell role is essentially the argument for Christian Kirk. I think he's like, the expectation is that he starts the year as a starter, and I draft a ton of Jalen Noel, to be clear. But I think that like there's also a reasonable possibility that like Christian Kirk just keeps the role and starts as the slot all year.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
And I mean, with what
their O-line is, then it could definitely be a lot of short A-dot stuff to get the ball. But
Ooh,
okay. I prefer McCarthy here anyway, so works for me.
Love that. Thank you, John, letting us have McCarthy. He just feels good where he's going. Like I'm not like a hyper Christian Kirk bull, but he's going late enough that I think he's a pretty solid click around here, like a good enough bet. I think the upside is probably like he ends the year as a like should have been a 6th round pick. So like we're not getting like crazy great value here, but I also think like I think the likeliest scenario is that he runs 60+% of routes as long as he's healthy, and should stay healthy, I think. Do you think that
I'm just always scared
he loses the job?
I think it's in play, and that's what I'm always scared to draft those guys where it's like if they're not running routes in weeks 15 to 17, it's like what's the use? What is even the point of this player? But yeah, I mean there are, to your point, there's kind of no other options here because we reached on Mahomes. Like we really needed to catch up at receiver, so you got to hope that doesn't happen pretty much.
I really hope that we get Wan'Dale Robinson again, just so I can send Scott screenshots of us taking Wan'Dale Robinson multiple times.
Scott, I got Ryan on the show and we drafted Wan'Dale Robinson.
I forced him to draft Wan'Dale Robinson multiple times. Yeah. It'll just make Scott mad. Because Scott sends me messages all the time to be like, look at what I did. Like I took a totally unstacked team, or like I look at this tweet I sent that are just like meant to infuriate people like me who like to stack our teams and correlate our teams. So then I can send him one back trying to infuriate him.
Yeah, I do. I guess my version of this is I love scheduling tweets to like the Fantasy Points data account where Wan'Dale Robinson is somehow like shows up in the top 5 of something. Like, it's Wan'Dale Robinson had the most receiving yards on hitch routes last year or whatever it is. Like that just warms my heart anytime I can sneak Wan'Dale Robinson into one of those tweets, just because. And I won't even send it to Scott, but I know he sees it, and I know
of course he sees it.
That he's like, thanks, yeah, great, Ryan, thanks, Wan'Dale Robinson.
That's great. I didn't even invite Scott on the stream to join us. I should have had Scott on with us. Could have been fun.
Yeah, I think he's recording with JJ Zacharyson right now. I don't know if I'm supposed to leak that, but that's I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. So we're fun today probably.
I'll look forward to listening to whatever they are recording. I suppose you're not going to leak what they're talking about then. We'll find out. But can you tell me which is it on JJ's channel or on Fantasy Point channel?
I'm pretty sure it's on our channel because I only know this because Tom messaged me something laughing about what one of them said. So,
That's
so great. I'm assuming it's on our channel.
That's funny. Kyle Williams does not make it to us. Never mind. Top by ADP. Wide receivers would be Cedric Tillman, Quentin Johnson, Jack Best, Josh Palmer. It's kind of gross. We could take a tight end if you prefer. What do you think?
I like Tillman here, actually.
Let's go. Like it.
Yeah, he's just I feel like I've given this argument a million times this year, and I can't get anyone to care about Cedric Tillman no matter what I do.
It's tough to make people care about Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, but I mean, in his games where he was playing a full-time role after Amari Cooper got traded, he did lead all Browns receivers in first read target share and fantasy points per game over that 4-game stretch. People remember the crazy Jerry Jeudy games with Jameis, but that didn't happen until after Tillman was concussed and out for the season. So was that a year 2 breakout that got cut short that he just picks back up on? Maybe.
Right. I started Jack Best, but that's not because he's the pick I necessarily want to make. Do you like Romeo Doubs, Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnson? Anybody you like here?
I think I like Doubs the most of these receivers.
Nice. Okay.
And then what do we have? 6 or how many?
So we're at 2, 4, 6, 1. Let me read off the team. So we are at Mahomes and McCarthy at quarterback. At running back, we have Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Quinshon Judkins, Jalen Warren. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Rashee Rice, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Cedric Tillman, and Romeo Doubs, and Travis Kelce at tight end.
Okay. Yeah, I think this probably needs to be a 3 tight end build.
Probably need at least one more running back. So we don't necessarily need another quarterback.
Yeah, I think we could stop at 2 QBs if we need to. 7 receivers would be totally fine. I'd be totally comfortable. I'm probably not doing the math right in my head. What do we have?
So we're at
5 more picks, 4 more picks.
We have 5 more picks. Yeah, we've done 13. So we have 5 more picks. So we could do at least one more running back, at least one more receiver, 2 more tight ends, and then we have 1 pick on top of that. So it could be a quarterback.
Okay. We can do 3, 5, 7, 3. Yeah, if we want. Yeah. Okay.
That could work. I feel like I just said Devonta Smith, and then I immediately thought I feel like somebody tweeted recently that it's actually Devontae Smith.
It is Devontae Smith.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't look like it. And I'm like, I think I usually say Devontae Smith, but for some reason I just went with Devonta after reading that it's actually Devontae. So I'll try to remember Devontae Smith. It's just when you read it, it looks like Devonta because there's no E at the end. But I have to remember that.
It's whatever, man. These players all get to the NFL and then decide that they want to be called something else than what they've been called their
Devin
entire
Achane.
college career. Yeah. Achane, we learned that was how you say it in week 4 of his rookie year.
Right.
Apparently I'm not allowed to call Tet McMillan Tet anymore per his mother. I have to call him T-Mac instead. Yeah, his name is T-Mac or Tetaroa. That's no Tet. That was out there earlier this week. I'm gonna call him Tet forever. It's way too hard to get that out of my lexicon, I think.
Yeah. Maybe if I just learned to say Tetaroa, then maybe I can start. It's just Tet is just I don't know how to say this name, and Tet makes sense. But that is, I guess I'll keep that in mind.
I don't know whether it's actually Scatabo or Scataboo. I've heard both. I feel like I've heard announcers say both. I don't actually know what it is. Maybe we'll find that one out in week 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I just try not to worry about it that much, but
yeah. I want to say their names correctly. Like I want to like the way they want us to say them. I just I forget. Like I'll say it, I'll hear it, I'll say it right, and then I'll be like, wait, which one was the correct one again? And it's easy to forget. We could take Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith at quarterback here. Our options. We do have the Wanda Robinson option. We could take Jack Besh and then hope that Geno falls back to us.
I'm cool with that, I think. Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, finishing up receiver, can finish up QB. I do like Roshan a lot, but we should probably, so maybe if Geno gets sniped, we go Roshan. But
interesting. So you feels like I took so much Roshan early, and I've kind of been scared off by just like the coaches have not mentioned his name, like they don't know that he's on the team. Maybe they talk about Kyle Monungai. I just like I've been sort of scared off by the lack of any coach speak about Roshan Johnson.
I don't know. I think it's
so
like,
right,
yeah, let's go Geno just because we set it up there, so we may as well. But for me, I'm not going to. The reason they're talking about Kyle Monungai is because like he's been at rookie mini camp and all that, right? To me, it's like if we're still hearing about Kyle Monungai and explicitly not Roshan in like late August, then I'll change my tune probably. But yeah. I don't know. I don't think we can. Yeah, it's like Billy says, it's July. Like I'm not that worried about it. Like it can so easily just be like what the reporters' questions are about too. Like I don't know. We went an entire offseason last season without knowing that Christian McCaffrey was injured and wasn't going to play in week 1. Like I feel like the like while coach speak is definitely a huge edge if you know how to apply it, like getting worried, there could be so many things we're not hearing about that are like in the unknowable universe of coach speak that's just not being put out there.
Yeah.
That there's so many things that we could just not be privy to. So like a lack of coach speak is just not a big deal to me until like August when we actually when the teams actually get an idea of their depth charts.
I think that is very fair. And I feel like every year there's like it was 2 years ago, the year that both Raheem Mostert and Devin Achane like went off. I had been drafting a lot of Jeff Wilson. Like he was the last of that group.
Oh, me too. I was so pissed, Neil, that I had a big Jeff Wilson stand that year. I was so mad.
And then it was just like, oh yeah, Jeff Wilson's out. He's not going to play this year. It's like out of nowhere. Like, oh yep. And it was like they like said it as though we knew. Like, and I was like, what was there an injury? Like I never heard about an injury to Jeff Wilson. Yeah, that was. It can be pretty frustrating in August to hear that players that you were really bullish on are actually hurt. So yeah, you're right. The lack of coach speak is probably not the end of the world. I think I got bored of clicking Roshan because I drafted so much of him early. But maybe I'll need to start reincorporating some Roshan onto my teams.
Fair enough. Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, he takes over the backfield from DeAndre Swift or whatever. It just can literally be like Ben Johnson is always given at least 40% of his backfield to a different running back, to a different body. So, yeah.
So I think running back and tight end are our biggest needs here.
Agreed. Yeah,
3
we should
picks left. Yeah, we are on the clock. So here's what we have. Will Shipley is at the top. DJ
I'd
Giddens.
probably go Shipley here, and then we'll double tap tight end.
Okay.
Because there's just nothing at tight end right now. Like if Henry was on the board or like anyone I actually cared about, then it would be
a very flat tier here for me. Yeah, also.
Yeah.
All of our none of our quarterbacks are correlated to tight ends. I'm trying to think who does Vegas play in week 17? Oh, they play the Giants. So Theo Johnson would be a bring back on the Geno stack, I suppose.
Yeah, we can definitely do Theo. Yeah, I don't have a huge stance on anyone else though. Like we've been talking about all stream.
Okay. Yes, this is our second to last. So we just have one more pick after this. So that makes sense to go just get two more tight ends, call it a day. I think team's turning out okay though.
Yeah. I think this is my favorite one that we've drafted on stream so far.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Coach speak should be ignored. Lack of coach speak. Yeah, that is probably the correct take. Just don't worry about it.
I think coach speak can be very valuable. Like my favorite coach speak that any time pre-August, the coach speak I care about the most is like how a player is going to be used on the field.
Oh yeah.
So like after Liam Cohn got hired, he started talking about how he couldn't wait to use Brian Thomas Jr. on more than just vertical routes and like give him all these screens and get him working slants and that he can do absolutely everything. Like I care about that. That does affect like how I'm going to project a player. But yeah, like the like vaguely positive stuff from like rookie minicamp does it actually matter most of the time? No. It's got to be a lot more. If it continues all the way into August or whatever, then sure.
Yeah.
I think the same. This is like the same thing with just to keep talking about Liam Cohn. Him coming out and saying, Duval. Just coming out and saying like that he likes Travis Etienne and that the reports are wrong. To me, that's like, is he gonna say? Is he gonna say the reports are right and we don't like Travis Etienne? Like,
right, yeah.
That has like no bearing at all on like how I'm viewing the backfield or how I expect it to evolve throughout the season. So that's just like, two Liam Cohn examples that I guess are instructive in how I read coach speak.
Yeah, no, I think that's I had not heard that one. I didn't even know people were saying they didn't like ETN. So I had not heard that they denied it.
It was rumored by I think Jeremy Fowler at ESPN and at least one other like national reporter that he was on the trade block like going up to the draft and right after the draft. And then sometime in June, Cohn had come out and said, no, all this stuff I've been seeing is so wrong. We love Travis Etienne, or to that effect. But none of it really meant anything to me.
Yeah, that sounds like a big nothing. All right, so probably one more tight end here is the play. I'm assuming. I guess we could look at all the other positions just to see if there's. No, I've not seen any must-haves.
Nope.
Do we want to
Let's do something other than the Theo Johnson, Terrence Ferguson? So we could just something other than that would be good.
JT Sanders.
I can definitely do Sanders. I'd be down for that.
Anybody else you like here? Juwan Johnson.
I guess Juwan, but I'd rather gamble on Sanders.
Yeah, me too. There we go. So there's the team. By the way, if you have not already liked the video, please do. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And if you want to get notified when I go live, which is going to be very frequent starting next week, starting on Monday, going to be streaming all the time. Hit that little notification button to get alerts. Also want to remind you, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, starting a week from Monday, going to be Marathon Mondays with Mathology, doing a new stream with Mathology, who was the leading scorer in all of BBM regular season last year. We're going to be streaming every Monday. Check that out if you have not already done so. Just want to get that out there before we finish the stream, because now this is the final of our 4 drafts today. The team is Patrick Mahomes, J.J. McCarthy, and Geno Smith at quarterback. At running back, we have Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Quinshon Judkins, Jalen Warren, and Will Shipley. Wide receivers, we have Justin Jefferson, Rashid Rice, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Cedric Tillman, Romeo Doubs, and Jack Besh. And at tight end, we have Travis Kelce, Theo Johnson, and JT Sanders. So do you still feel that this is the best team that we drafted on the stream of our 3?
Yeah, I think so. I think we did a much better job kind of balancing running back and wide receiver more than anything. It doesn't feel like super weak anywhere. So I Travis Kelce issues aside, like if I accept the premise of Travis Kelce, like then I like this team.
Yeah, that he could just be Travis Kelce from like 3 years ago when we really liked Travis Kelce. Maybe less than 3, I don't know. But yeah, if Travis Kelce is good, like this team looks pretty strong. I think the wide receivers strong enough. We got a really strong start there with Jay Jets and Rashid Rice and Devonta Smith. and then kind of some volume with some players that I think have some floor. Pretty good running backs overall. I feel pretty good about this team. That's going to do it as far as the drafts go. Ryan, what other? Got to get rid of the overlay here. What other content do you have coming out? What's up with you going forward?
Yeah, hopefully sometime next week. I have Anatomy of a League Winner coming out. This is Scott Barrett's old article that he would do every year. It's been assigned to me this year. So kind of just going through how we find league winning players at every position, mostly focused on like managed redraft. But yeah, at anyone that's in normal managed redraft leagues was a really good prep for that, to get into that. Other than that, I am on Dynasty Points live on YouTube, on the Fantasy Points YouTube channel, with Jacob Sanderson, Thomas Tipple, Lucas Gilbert every single Tuesday night. If you are into Dynasty, definitely come check that out. It's a really fun show.
Very cool. And you do your own Best Ball Mania show, right? With Graham?
That's right. Yeah. There's too many things to plug, but tomorrow afternoon, 2 Eastern time, Graham Barfield and I will be live drafting best ball teams as well. So come check that out if you guys want more best ball stuff.
Yep, on the Fantasy Points channel, and you can find him on X at RyanJ_Heath. Check that out as well. I already did my plugs a minute ago, but yeah, like the video, subscribe, sign up if you want to see my Eliminator video or just support the channel. It's $5 a month. All right, thank you guys. Thanks, Ryan. We'll catch you later.